Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast, coming to you on the last day of March. April Fools is tomorrow. I can't believe how fast the year's flying by already. It's blowing my mind. Loving how late it is, how light it is late now that we're really getting long days, which is great. We're seeing the cherry blossoms out, the sun's shining quite a bit more. Little bit of rain today, but yeah, the spring is here and feeling pretty damn good about it. Had a really awesome weekend. Made me feel terrific today, and really looking forward to doing this podcast with you tonight, Jason. How about you? How was your day? How was your weekend?
Day was pretty good. The day at work was productive.
Nice.
That's what I would say about that. So that was good. And the weekend was relaxing because I had been busy for the last 3 to 4 weekends prior to this. So this weekend I was just like, just want to do nothing, and I was so good at it. I succeeded at it. Just watched my sports. It was great.
Yeah. I apologize for not inviting you out with us on Saturday night. You made me feel a bit guilty too, saying where was my invite? But yeah, I know you like places like that. Have you ever been to that particular restaurant before?
No. Like as soon as you said what it was, the Oyster House, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you said, well, oyster, I was just like, I love oysters. So clearly this is a place that serves oysters.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't know how much I did love oysters.
No.
But now you do.
Yeah.
But that's all.
I caught hell from everybody for not sending out the invite. I learned my lesson, and yeah, I'll have to send it out next time for sure. But had a really good time that night. It was so nice to get together with some really good buddies. I've known these guys for a lot of years now, and we had an absolute ball. Couldn't believe how the time flew by in the night, though. I don't know. I feel like I got home like at 5 a.m., I think it was. So it ended up being a crazy night, but a lot of fun. I just miss guys that, really I can go out with. We can just laugh the whole night. We can just have an absolute ball. And yeah, it just turned into one of those nights that made me really happy. I got close buddies that I can do stuff like that with still.
Yeah, you know what? Those are the best kind of nights.
Yeah.
Those are the nights that remind you. It's like, man, I am super fortunate to have good friends like this.
Yeah.
Like I'm very lucky to have friends of this kind of caliber.
Yeah. So yeah, I felt so happy all day, all day Sunday, and then into today too. And yeah, it was funny. I was watching I watched a show called Good Morning Football. Do you watch that?
Um,
Okay. It's been a staple of mine for years and years and years. I think I've been watching it for 10 years. I watch it most of the time on the way to work. I'll just have it playing. I mostly listen to it while I'm driving, obviously, but
yeah.
it comes on at 5 a.m. Pacific, and they repeat it every 2 hours. So 5
Okay.
a.m. to 7 a.m. is the first cast, then they go 7 to 9, 9 to 11. They show it, I think, 3 times every morning. It's on the NFL Network, and there's just such an amazing dynamic to the show. They usually have they usually have like a main host, and then they have three analysts, three insiders that will provide, conversation topics, and, they'll discuss the NFL, and they run it all year long. They take time off in the off season. And so, it's just become something that I watch every morning and listen to every morning. And it's been something that, I think I've been watching it for about 10 years. I think that's when it first kicked in. One of the main guys on the show decided, I don't know how long ago, but he decided that today was going to be his last day. And
Oh,
they just announced it today. I don't think anybody but the people on the show knew that he was going. He's leaving for something else. Didn't announce today where he was going, but that was it. His name is Peter Schrager.
Oh
Great.
yeah, I know him. I
You
know
know,
him.
Peter, yeah,
Yep.
great insider, really, really knowledgeable
Yep.
guy,
Knows his stuff.
just witty, funny, got so much charisma, personality, loves the NFL so much. And um, his running mate on the show is Kyle Brandt. You know him too, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, Kyle comes on to Sportsnet a lot with providing a little bit of insight into NFL and stuff. He's a big WWE guy. They
Yep.
always talk about that. And anyway, yeah, it was amazing to all of a sudden realize, wow, a chapter's closing. These guys were two of the best of buddies, and every morning, for 10 years watching them, you get to really know them and love them and have a really good close connection. Well, there was so many tributes to him today. People were sending in video comments. Sean McVay, the Rams coach,
Yep.
was one of them. He's known McVay, I guess, before McVay became a head coach. He knew him in his early 20s when he was just an assistant coach. And I guess he was the guy that broke the story that McVay was actually going to get hired with the Rams. And at his age, I think it was 30 years old. So,
Yeah.
nobody thought, a 30-year-old back then would have been an NFL coach. It was always way older guys that did.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Unprecedented. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, long story short, him and Kyle Brandt were exchanging really, great comments to each other, how close they've become. And he said, I can remember back to the day that I found out that I got the gig, and I heard that you got the gig as well, because a lot of people had auditioned and they were trying to figure out who they were going to put in the mix. And he said, hey, congratulations, you got the gig, I got the gig. This the start of this. This is going to be fun. This is going to be fun, and we're going to be best friends from this point forward. And he said, we are like best of friends. And it's awesome to know that I come into work every day and I see one of my best buddies, and he's going to be there. And it always made me want to be better to impress him. And he
Mhm.
said the same for me. I always wanted to make you laugh. I always wanted to do something, know something that, really was good. And it just made me, just that much happier that I have friends like you. I have, super good close friends that,
Yep.
I can count on. I can always know that I'm going to see them. We're going to always have great conversations. We're always going to have a lot of fun. With you, we've been doing this a while now. It's great. I can count on getting to see you every Monday.
Yep.
It's great working with you, and sometimes we cross paths and I get to see you maybe a few
Yep.
minutes a day kind of thing. But,
Yep.
it's awesome that we've known each other for this many years, and we
Yep.
have this platform, we have this availability to check in with each other and have this friendship continue and, have this every Monday. It's so great for me.
No, it is cool. And it's cool that you notice the parallels
Yeah.
between those two and then us two, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that I I was kind of wondering where you were going with it, and I was just like, oh, yes,
Yeah.
there's a ton of similarities between those two.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're on a little bit of a smaller end than where they're at,
Yeah.
but it's still the same. It's still fundamentally the same thing. And you know, even with Schrager moving on to whatever he's moving on to, you know that all his coworkers are rooting for him.
Oh, yeah.
They all have his back. They
Oh,
all
yeah.
just like, oh, hey, you got to do what you got to do, but we all support and love you for what you've done and what you're gonna do for the future.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah.
It made me think of friends so much over the years, and for some reason, when I was a teenager and I was in school, I think a lot of young people sort of looked up to older brothers or older people, and always saw that men kind of taking the piss out of each other, always kind of needling each other, giving each other little jabs here and there, and it was so prevalent with all those guys, and a lot of them really didn't understand that you just gave little jobs. You didn't get like dirty and mean and try to
Yeah.
like really rip the hell out of the guy. And as our friendships progressed on into our adult years, I thought, what a dick this guy is. What a piece of crap. I don't want to hang out with a guy that's just always saying crappy things to me, never saying nice complimentary things. And
Yeah.
on the Good Morning Football, all of them were just heaping praise on him and wishing him well, and saying they're definitely going to keep in touch. And there was not a negative word said. And
Yeah.
I've had friends over the years into my adult years that I didn't know from school, and they were doing the same kind of thing, needles, jabs, taking the piss out of you. And
Yeah.
I tend to try to spend more time with the people that are going to put me up instead of put me down.
Yes, definitely. But as one of our close friends has said, Scott
Yeah,
says, I wouldn't take the piss if I didn't like you.
sure. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
But at the same time, there's a certain way of going about it, and there's a certain way of not going
yeah,
about it, right?
totally. Yeah,
Because I'll say this. I have one of my friends that I work with now this is one of my best friends I've known since high school. He is so good.
yeah.
He's got his PhD in taking the piss out of me. His PhD. I've been taking it for decades. Decades, Darren. All right. And I had to tell my one coworker, it's like, sometimes I just throw my hands up and I just take it. I just take it. And you see this defeated look?
Oh yeah,
Because I spent
again.
decades in this.
PhD. He's been.
PTSD, yes. Yes. But at the same time, though, I know that he's one of my best buddies for a reason.
Nice.
He's always had my back. He's always been there when things have gotten serious or gotten shitty for me, and I've always been there for him.
Nice.
And it's nice to know that that's the way it's always going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally terrific. Yeah, it's nice when you've got, those ride or die type of guys and friends in your mix and in your circle. And yeah, it makes you appreciate them so much. And yeah, we all go through ups and downs. Life is a roller coaster, and it's nice when people are there in the good times and the bad times, and helping you through. One guy that has received a massive amount of compliments and praise and letters and things like that is Cain Velasquez. And last week at the end of the podcast, I made mention that he received a 5-year prison sentence for his involvement in a shooting. And I wanted to give a little update now on that, because when I saw the 5 years, I was kind of given that gut punch. I was like, damn, I really hoped that they could somehow minimize it. I know that I had heard they had been asking for like really way longer sentences. That actually, I heard that the prosecutor was asking 30 to life, and so they didn't back off that for about 3 years in time. And I did find out just, I think, a day after you and I did the podcast last week, that he's being credited for time served already, that he was in prison. And so it ends up being 1,283 days of credit that he's been given for the time that he was in jail and also on house arrest. And so likely, with good behavior, he will be out in early 2026, possibly January of this coming year. So that was amazing news. Really, made me feel so much better that this ordeal and this saga could be over for him in that regard, in that respect, quite soon. And he's not a kind of guy, I don't think, that's going to be on his poor behavior. A lot of people are probably going to be approaching him to fight him. There's not going to be, many issues or problems. So, the good behavior is probably going to be there. And, in the not too distant future, he could be a free man.
Which is awesome to hear. First off, anybody in the right mind that knows who that guy is, you don't fight that man. Leave him alone. All right?
Yeah.
The second thing that I'd say too is this. Even criminals have a code. Because of the actions that he did, because he was protecting like a family member, yeah, those guys won't have a problem with it.
Yeah,
Period.
that's true.
They just
Very much.
they just
Yeah,
won't.
you nailed it there. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better there for sure.
So
Another reason why I wanted to bring him up was I really thought he would have been front and center at this UFC event in Mexico. He was always considered the first Mexican champion, not born in
yeah,
Mexico, which is
yeah,
Brandon Moreno's title, but the first Mexican descent champion in the UFC. He had the big brown pride tattoo on his chest. Really, wanted to honor his family's heritage and, was that guy. When he beat Brock Lesnar to, capture the heavyweight championship, it was a historic moment for the UFC. Really good for a lot of the good guys. And I always considered him one of the good people. I really, really appreciated him. He was always one of the nicest people. And, I never heard a disparaging word ever said about him before this incident. So, yeah, it made me, wish that he was there, but glad that after I announced it, heard that day that he got that sentence, that the time served that he'd already done will reduce that sentence so much more that, we're going to get to see him on the streets fairly soon.
yeah. Like I'm just gonna say this. When I heard 5 years, me personally, I go, huge win. That's a huge win,
Right.
considering the fact that he could have been in jail for life,
Right.
the rest of his life, right? So the fact that they somehow that became 5 years, it's almost I kind of thought this, to be honest. I thought God does protect in mysterious ways.
Right.
That's what I actually thought.
Okay.
And I'm just
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
because he's who he is. He's a good man.
Yeah.
I still believe he did what needed to be done as a father to protect your family. Yeah. And so if that's what he had to spend or serve, hey, it's a win for him and his family.
Yeah.
It's a win.
Yeah, so I needed to give that update, and I wanted to give that. He also crossed my mind when I saw the legend Julio Cesar Chavez
Yeah,
at the
yes.
event, and just to know that he's one of the greatest, boxers of all time, one of the best combat sports athletes, and how revered he is in Mexico, and every time. He was walking Moreno to the cage.
Yeah.
He was. I saw him shaking hands with Poatan,
Yeah.
and I saw him front and center almost all the time. Every fight, I would see him in the crowd watching the fights, and how many people had wanted to come up with him, shake his hand, get pictures with him, autographs, whatever. It was really cool, and Mexico was such a boxing only country I guess wrestling as well, but in combat sports it was boxing and wrestling, and MMA wasn't part of their DNA or lexicon, or they weren't big fans of. But it's great to see how much it has evolved because of guys like Cain and Brandon Moreno and the like that have really made MMA such a big sport there now, that they can have an event, sell out the CMX arena, and attract one of the greatest boxers of all time, because a lot of boxers have always been hesitant. I don't know about this MMA thing, not really my thing. So I thought it was really excellent to see Julio there, and and just to see the love that MMA is getting in Mexico now.
No, yeah, definitely, right? Like, he's the pioneer of combat sports, Julio Cesar Chavez, and the fact that Hall of Famer, the fact that he still has all his faculties in place, because the amount of no fighter will ever equate what he's done, ever again, ever again. Total fights for his professional career, 150, 107 wins.
Wow.
To 6 losses.
Wow. Crazy.
And 86 of them by knockout.
Unreal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And again, as I said before, still has all his faculties. He's fantastic. He's good.
Yeah, no, an absolute legend that you just want to bow down to when you see, and just appreciate everything that he went through to entertain us, and set up his life, And yeah, I watched so many of his fights growing up, and just always was I'm unbelievably amazed at the Mexican spirit that he showed, as well as many other Mexican fighters that I've seen. And I was a massive boxing fan growing up, and I always just idolized and appreciated the guys. I kind of think that my very first idol was Muhammad Ali. I think that, looking back, I think that he was the first guy that I actually ever thought, wow, incredible. And I remember watching fights with my dad as a young kid, singing his song, Float Like a Butterfly, Sting Like a Bee,
Yeah.
and just the charisma and everything he had. And then, so many guys that followed and over the years. We talked about George Foreman so much last week, and I was a big Larry Holmes guy after, and so many guys. I can just go down this murderer's row of great boxers that gave me so much entertainment and pleasure over my lifetime.
Absolutely. And again, with Julio Cesar Chavez, there's one more thing I want to bring up. One more
Great.
thing.
Do it.
Was the fact that, okay, so we praise Floyd Mayweather for going 50-0 in his boxing career.
Yeah.
But the O being the biggest thing, retired with no losses.
Being undefeated. Yeah.
So Julio Cesar Chavez, we seem to forget because it's history, right? And he's a little bit older. He's an older generation. But let's not forget this. 90 fights, undefeated. Yeah. 89 fights, 0 losses, 1 draw. In 90 fights.
Wow.
He was undefeated.
Wow.
I'll tell you this right now. I don't know if anybody has ever even come close to that. That will never be eclipsed.
Yeah.
That will never be broken.
Isn't that amazing that such recency bias, everybody just trumpets Floyd Mayweather for that 50-0, but if Chavez decides, okay, I'm done at 90 fights,
90 fights.
how can you even, Floyd would have had to fight for how many more years to even get close to that. So yeah, that's awesome, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, man. Like, again, it's recency bias, and we're all privy to doing that at times. But sometimes you just gotta look back in your history and be like, oh yeah, that's right. He did that. He did that. That's right. He did that.
I absolutely love that. I love going back in the history of some of the greatest boxers of all time and watch. I'm always amazed that back in the day, they would fight like every 2-3 weeks. Some guys would have 10, 15 fights a year. And, one thing I forgot to mention about George Foreman last week was right after that Rumble in the Jungle, he took quite a bit of a break off. And he went, the very first time he went back into the ring was in Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. And he faced 5 guys in the same evening. They just decided that they were going to do this exhibition and show how crazy, big, and mean and tough he was. And he ended up fighting 5 different guys in the same night, all in an exhibition, but he fought them. He knocked out the first, I think, 2 or 3, and then he went to a no, not even a decision. They said they weren't going to have judges because they didn't want to make it, part of his record or anything. But he went to the final bell with the other 2 guys. I think they were shorter, like 3 or 4, 5 round fights or something like that, but 5 different men on the same evening.
That's amazing. Now, like that's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. And then we give Floyd Mayweather all this money, and we just want him to fight 1 guy. And George is just like, yeah, I guess you could do that, or you just fight 5 guys.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. I know that our friend Stefan has been working on putting together a documentary film about George Chuvalo, and I hope it sees the light of day. I know that he has approached George's family, and I think he's received permission to do so. And I hope it eventually sees the light of day. You know how hard it is when you work in film to get your products going and complete them. But Stefan and I have had some conversations about George and his life, and I've had the opportunity to meet George on a few occasions, and he was always one of Canada's greatest heavyweight boxers of all time. And I think Muhammad Ali said that it was one of the toughest battles he ever fought or ever faced in his career, was facing Georgia, and he never did knock him down or send him off. He went to a decision when they fought, and I have so many friends in the boxing world from growing up loving it and dabbling into it. It's such a great sport, and it's unfortunate that it has minimized quite a bit here in North America because of the pay-per-view, because of the corruption, because of the 4 or 5 belt era, and a lot of the issues with the sport. But it's still a great sport, and I look super fondly back on the 50, 60, 70 years of boxing before now.
Yeah, and I love the direction of where boxing is going to right now, currently as it stands, which is with all the Saudi guys coming together with their companies and making the fights the fans want to see.
Right.
Seeing the fighters
Right.
fight in their prime. Yeah. Because if there's one thing that the UFC or MMA has over boxing, is they make sure that certain fighters fight in their prime and we see who's the best.
Always. Yeah.
Sometimes with boxing, you don't get to see that because of the politics behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Now, with these guys in play, it's like, well, it's not about the money anymore.
Yeah.
Period.
I just hope that this boxing, the Saudis are already changing boxing. This new TKO Holdings and Turkey Al Sheikh coming together, putting together a league type boxing league like the UFC. I'm just hoping that we can change that narrative and that that thought in people's brains that as soon as a boxer has 1 loss, 2 losses, they're bums. They're no longer somebody that we should be following and putting any attention or money behind, because that won't work with a league, because you are fighting those great guys all the time. You see MMA, some of the greatest MMA fighters of all time and some of the Hall of Famers, they won 2 out of every 3 fights, and they would have 10, 15 losses to 20, 25 wins. And it was like, yeah, but he's been fighting killers for the past 15 years. So, of course he's going to have losses. And, didn't diminish your thoughts of how great of an MMA fighter he was. So I hope they can change that philosophy and that sort of stereotype that boxing has had to have. And it sort of caused a lot of problems because they had to put him up against 20, 30, 40 guys that he could beat before he actually got to fight some really, really tough competition.
Exactly, right? Because you know what? A perfect example of what you're talking about is currently right now in the UFC, the lightweight division. If you look at the guys that are at the upper echelon in the top 10, once I don't know what happens once those guys retire, but I'll say it right now. That's been a killer's row forever.
Yeah, amazing.
You got Dustin Poirier, you got Dan Hooker, you got Charles Oliveira. Like, these guys have been fighting each other like that for like 10 years.
Oh yeah.
And they don't diminish each other.
No.
What they do is they elevate one another, because that's some of the best wars we've ever seen in the UFC. And I'm just so happy to have seen them go at it and do that for the fans.
Me too. Yeah. I hope that, it's definitely shifting in that direction. So, the will of the people will make the fights happen, and we will get to see the guys in their prime fighting each other, and boxing can have a big resurgence that, can really attract a whole new generation of people to the sport, and they don't just dismiss it as an old man sport and it's past its prime. Because the beauty of it is incredible. And, I have so many memories of great battles between 2 of the top fighters in the world facing each other. There was a long period of time where we weren't seeing those fights. And, the last couple of years, I'm starting to feel like, wow, the tide's changed. The money's finally there to make these fights happen. And yeah, it's great that this boxing isn't going to be dead for good.
Yeah, no, it's great that boxing's not going to be good for good, and the fact that yes, the money obviously needs to be there, but now the boxers are more than willing to say, no, I'm not turning that down. Let's do it.
Yeah,
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 so that's
yeah.
good.
Speaking, I want to change topics and I want to talk about a non-boxer, probably one of the worst boxers that I've ever seen, Stephen A. Smith. He's been in a feud, a battle, a fight with LeBron. He said he wished he could have had a second opportunity at LeBron approaching him on the court. He might have thrown down hands, and it made me just shake my head and think, oh my God, you're losing credibility every second of every day that you're saying ridiculous things like that. This has become quite the crazy feud. And, I think both guys are coming off looking pretty poor in this whole situation, but I want to hear your thoughts before I share mine. I know that you're privy to quite a bit of it. Tell me what you've been thinking as it goes back and forth over the past few weeks here.
Okay, okay. So I didn't hear the whole interview when LeBron went on the Pat McAfee show, but I kind of understood where he was coming from, right? It was the comment that Stephen A made, like his he goes, I'm not saying that he should do his job.
Yeah,
We're in the NBA, so we the criticism is deserved or undeserved, but that's his job. That's what he's supposed to do.
yeah,
It's when you make it personal and about my family, like the comment of saying, I'm pleading with you as a father, like that part,
right.
step too far.
Yeah,
I get where LeBron was coming from. I understand why he did that.
yeah,
Now, if Stephen A is trying to construct the narrative that LeBron might have thrown hands at him, I don't know. I saw the video. At no point in time that yes, it was tense, but it didn't look like he was about to chuck something at him.
no,
So that comment and him trying to craft that is utterly ridiculous. I
yeah,
completely agree with Charles Barkley saying that's weak. And it was weak. This
yeah,
is completely ridiculous nonsense.
yeah,
I love the comment that because like kind of LeBron kind of went scorched earth on everybody. I think it's almost as if to me when he went on Pat McAfee where he's just like, man, enough's enough. Like enough's enough. Like
yeah,
I've been dealing with this for like over 2 decades. Like I'm nearing the end. I
yeah,
don't really care anymore. I'm just gonna say what I feel. Right.
yeah, yeah,
And that's how it felt to me.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so with just the fact that he did that, he went on Pat McAfee, he went against like Stephen A's rival. He went and he did that on purpose, right?
right.
And continued the narrative. And I love the fact that LeBron made the comment of saying he's going on his Taylor Swift tour, right? Stephen A. I,
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty
that
funny,
was a
and I
funny
thought that was
comment.
pretty good.
Yeah,
And because he went on Gil's Arena and he talked about it some more. Like for as far as Stephen A's concerned, like this is the best thing that could have happened to him. Now he has something to literally latch onto for an entire month. Like we're
yeah,
still going to be talking about this 2 weeks from now. At least the pundits are on TV and Stephen A for sure. So at least for a month,
yeah,
he can just ride this out, and then we all have to listen to it for another month. At the end of the day, I'm going to be honest. I'm good. I think I've heard enough.
yeah,
I'm good. Like I said before, I understand where LeBron's coming from. I
right.
get that.
Sure.
And then everything else after that is just, well, this is just for Stephen A can make more money, have more clicks, and all that other nonsense. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll start with LeBron,
Yep.
who I think made the first mistake in this thing by approaching Stephen A in the first place,
Yep.
because um, it. Everybody knows Stephen A and
Yep.
knows that he likes that attention. He wants to
Yep.
stir up debates. He wants to,
Yep.
do this. And, in this day and age, LeBron's got to know that approaching him, somebody's going to video that and they're
Yep.
going to place it on social media and it's going to get out.
Yep.
And Stephen A, is going to try to jump on that. So I think LeBron made that mistake. I think Stephen A. did make mention of that the following day, and Stephen A. Said, "Oh, I wasn't going to ever discuss this, but the video's out now, and all that kind of
Yeah,
crap." But he he
yeah,
he would have brought it out himself. But
yeah.
um, he was right that LeBron should have either called him or send him a message, or tried to get some communication back and forth, and just saying whatever he said on the court, he could have said to him over the phone instead of approaching him. It just escalated the situation to
Oh yeah.
a back and forth kind of thing. So that was the first mistake that LeBron made.
Yeah.
But it has it escalated, and now I think that Stephen A is really, to me, looking like the bad guy in this whole situation, because he's what he said the other day really, really bothered me, and I think it bothered a lot of people, and
Oh,
I think it's actually um,
false.
possibly grounds for him getting kind of blackballed from the NBA. He might lose the ability to interact with players from now on. Adam Silver might want to question if he should be involved in the pregame shows, the postgame shows, the different things that he does with ESPN, because he said, I there's a lot of things that I could have said about LeBron over the years. I never brought up that he didn't go to Kobe's memorial, did I? I didn't bring up that he wasn't at Dwayne Wade's Hall of Fame induction, did I? And this is a guy that helped him win his first championship, and he can't even be there for his bro. And he started saying like some really, really personal, really stupid, shitty things that, I think crossed the line to a place that, he shouldn't have went to. When LeBron heard about it, I guess somehow the the word leaked out that LeBron was actually at Kobe's memorial,
Yes. Yep.
but he was not filmed, photographed. He
Yeah.
was
But he was there.
seen by the public, but he was there.
There.
And the proof is there. So so Stephen A. I think has apologized for that part of it now that that came out. But he started talking about other things about his son, more things that were just really over the line and not cool. And it really bothered me that Stephen A. has just tried to escalate it to a point where he's really
Yeah.
attacking a lot more than just this feud that went back and forth over these comments about him, Bronny and his dad, and the aspects of that interaction.
Yeah. You know what? Like, because like now he's using like the information that he knows that he's not supposed to ever mention.
Yeah.
He's using that to his advantage to escalate the situation.
Yeah.
Like I remember the first time where I heard he said that about the Kobe thing, where I'm like, that's probably not true. He's gonna regret saying that. Like that's actually what I thought. Because there's been many times where you can come in a back way, away from the lights and the cameras, especially for something like that, where you don't want to make it about yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's about the man. So I can definitely like as soon as I heard him say that, I go, that's probably not true. He's gonna regret saying that. I knew it. I know it for a fact. And then that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And so once you start going down that road that he's done,
Yeah.
now LeBron actually doesn't have to do anything.
No.
Period. He
Yeah.
does not actually have to do anything. All he has to do is just stand back and just watch him just self-destruct.
Yeah.
Cool.
He is self-destructing, and many times in the last few rants that he's had about LeBron, he's called him a liar. Might have quite a few times, and I think Stephen A. is a liar because over the past 20 years of LeBron's career, anytime he's ever mentioned LeBron, he said, "I have no personal issue with LeBron. Me and LeBron are fine. I don't dislike him, all that kind of stuff." Well, he said the other day that, in fact, I hate him, always have, always will. Don't like the guy. And so he's either lying now or he's been lying for 20 something years. And
Yes.
so I don't know, where he actually stands with this, but I think he's the one to me that's coming across more as a lawyer right now than LeBron is whatsoever.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to say is he should have had a personal, like he should have had that conversation on the phone call.
Yeah.
Now with all this other stuff that's come out that is clearly not true,
Yeah.
what if LeBron already did that and he's just not saying it?
Yeah.
We don't know if that phone call was actually made. We
Right.
don't know if that conversation was actually had,
Yeah.
and then that's why he confronted him because he kept going.
Right. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. So, yeah. I gave my dad Stephen A's biography for Christmas this year, and he read it and said he really enjoyed the book and didn't realize so much about his personal life and digging into it. I'm hoping I get to read it in the very near future. But yeah, he's always been a guy that I can't take in very large doses
Yeah.
because he's
Yeah.
always combative and he's always being inflammatory and trying to start fights and being that guy that will move the needle type of thing. But yeah, I've lost respect with for him over this, and not to say I won't necessarily get a lot of it back, but I think he's been quite wrong in many aspects of this whole situation.
Yeah, man. I totally agree with you. I totally agree that he has handled this poorly.
Yeah.
And I think he's continuing, like it's now beginning to spiral on him.
Yeah.
And I think it's getting worse. Like I think it's probably getting to the point where one of his bosses might have to step in and say, okay, enough's enough.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
That's it.
I would be surprised if he hasn't been reprimanded a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though he's their
Yeah.
ESPN's baby, he's making 20 million a year and under
Yeah.
contract to them. That doesn't mean still you can get a slap on the wrist and say, cut this out, move on,
Yeah.
somebody else, something going else. We don't need more of this negative press because
Yeah.
the ESPN wants to have a nice long-standing relationship with the NBA. And,
Yeah.
I think everybody's sacrificed over something like that's valuable to ESPN. More
Yeah.
valuable than anybody that works for
Anything.
them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like just being a part of the NBA family is more valuable. And so the fact that this guy's throwing a blowtorch to one of their favorite sons,
Yeah.
yeah, that's gonna probably come to an end at some point.
Have the deals already been struck for all the NBA contracts moving forward? Have they all been figured out?
I want like when you talk like in
Like,
regards to the broadcasters and the analysts.
no, the broadcasters that will be like, how long do you know how long ESPN's contract is with the NBA currently? How much longer they have it?
Oh, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure they re-upped,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so it's definitely longer than 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So like that's definitely a thing. But the NBA does have the wherewithal to say, not that guy anymore.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah. Well, we've all been shocked over the past year that TBS isn't going to be showing, inside the NBA, and they're losing their broadcasting rights. That shocked the entire NBA world, and we didn't see that ever coming because it had become one of the most watched shows on TV, bar none, sports or not. It was one of the most watched products, and for the NBA to turn their back on TBS blew my mind. They
Yeah.
they might be, they might be able to hold that over top of ESPN and say, get rid of that guy, or we're not re-upping with you next time, or we're considering, getting rid of this contract. I've seen stuff like that happen over the years.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely happened over the years. It definitely can happen. And if this issue doesn't somehow just resolve itself, or at least both parties stop talking about it so that to not give it life anymore, then maybe the bigger heads will have to step in and say, "Yep, okay, so now we're gonna have to do something about this."
Yeah, yeah. Okay. You can see I was wearing my Yankees jersey last week, but I got it
Yeah.
over my shoulder here tonight, and
Okay.
I'm putting it up there because the Yankees are absolutely crushing the ball at unprecedented rates these days, and a lot of people are blaming it on these new
That's
torpedo bats.
Yep.
What are your thoughts of the controversy, these new torpedo bats? Aaron Judge has hit 4 home runs already this season, and he doesn't use a torpedo bat. Many of the players on the Yankees don't, but they have hit a few home runs with them, and it's yeah, causing quite the big stir in the sporting world in Major League Baseball, and lots of people are talking about it right now.
No, I love it, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I really love it because at least people are talking about baseball. So then that's a win for
yeah,
baseball,
that's
right?
true. Yeah,
First off. Secondly, apparently these torpedo bats have been in development for a number of years because to get it passed by the MLB and like there's strict codes and like for equipment changes and like it takes a long time.
yeah.
Like you can't just do this over the course of a couple months and be like, hey, we got these new bats.
We're
Can we
trying these
use them?
out today. Yeah. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah,
No, it
no,
can't happen.
like no. So this has been in development for a number of years
Yeah.
before they could finally start using them. I love the fact that many teams are just like, well, it's the Yankees, so I guess they're just gonna let that slide. No, not really. They had to go through a strict process to get these verified and allowed by the MLB so that they could use them.
Yeah.
Now, is it going to be to their advantage? I don't know. Like I'm sure there's analytics guys who'd be like, well, we just plugged in the numbers. Oh my God, they are hitting so many more home runs than everybody else. Like maybe that's what it's going to be,
Yeah.
and that will give them the impetus to maybe beat the Dodgers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
that's why we developed them in the first place, because we knew that's the monster that we have to slay. So we will use everything to our advantage
Yeah.
to try to beat that team.
Yeah. Well, why not? Why not? They've been called the evil empire for most of my entire life. And, there's as many haters as there are lovers of the Yankees. And, it's just something you got to deal with when you wear that jersey, when you wear a shirt, when you wear a hat with the New York symbol for the Yankees on it. You're usually going to get some interactions with people out in the world. And I have my entire life. I've had people yell at me, say "fuck you," and I've had people say, "Oh man, I'm glad you're a Yankees fan." Me too, and we get to reminisce and talk about how wonderful it is to be a supporter of one of the greatest teams of all time. And so it's interesting to be a Yankees fan, but because you're always immersed in a lot of stories, a lot of controversy, a lot of amazing things that are going on all the time. And the other day, I couldn't believe the start of that game. Major League Baseball has been going on for 150 years, and never in a Major League game in the history of the sport were the first 3 pitches of the game hit for home runs. And the Yankees hit 4 home runs in the first inning. Aaron Judge hit 3 home runs that day. They bashed 9 home runs in the game, one behind the Toronto Blue Jays, who have the actual Major League Baseball record. But they did set some records. They had a record that played. They had a record that played for the first 3 games. They scored 36 runs. That's the most ever. The 15 home runs they've hit in those 3 games were the most by any team in Major League Baseball history. And they also had the very first catcher to ever lead off a game hit the first pitch for a home run. Just over and over and over. I could probably list more and more and more, but you get the picture. It was amazing to see, and just moving the wood down the bat is just a smart maneuver. It's just a
Yeah.
smart thing to do because one of the main impetuses of this and asking this MIT physicist to try to come up with an idea that works, is that one of their hitters, when they did the analytics in the offseason, they realized that almost all of his contact on his bat was farther down the barrel. And
Okay.
so a lot of those hits were not happening because they were going off the top or the bottom of a
Yeah.
very skinny, rounded bat. And that's one of the reasons why it's very, very, very difficult to bat a ball in Major League Baseball, because of that rounded bat and the way it's shaped. And so, this guy was able to, he's a genius, supposedly. They were able to hire him. He was able to implement this, and they've utilized it. Other teams are also using these bats. There are other players that have done it. Supposedly, over the last 2 days, every team has tried to look where they can get them, see if we can bring them in, see what they do, see if our players like them. Unfortunately, one of the Yankees' top hitters, Giancarlo Stanton, said he got injured using this bat. And it has led to him not being able to start the season. He's on the injured list. It threw off his timing with his swing, and
Yep.
it caused him some kind of muscle tear, some kind of injury, and he will not be using it himself, he said, but it has worked for others. And they're not breaking any rules, they're not breaking any laws. It's the same length, it's the same weight. It's just a little bit of a difference for where the weight is on the bat. And I would say almost every team will be utilizing it probably within the next coming weeks.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because first off, I'm just not going to give the Yankees an advantage. Why would I ever do that?
Right.
No,
Right.
no, because
No.
now that they're allowed, I kind of thought I was under the impression that I thought every team would have to go through the process like the Yankees if they wanted to change equipment like the Yankees did. I didn't know that they could be like, oh, if the Yankees got those bats, then we could have those bats.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could just actually do that. But it makes sense because you can't just have the Yankees use those bats and like nobody else. Sorry. Sorry, guys. You guys are out of luck. Out of luck. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
And if you know what, I'm all for more home runs.
Yeah.
If I see more dingers, I see some more long balls without the steroids, fine.
Yeah.
Because the steroids would be cool too again. But seriously, more
Yeah.
long balls is always better. It makes for
Sure.
a more exciting game, and
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
How much did you and I talk about Judge and Ohtani and their home run race and chase? It's something that people love. During that steroid era, people came flooding back to baseball that had kind of put it behind, because it's exciting. It's exciting to see guys bashing the ball way out of the park, and doing so in successive fashion a lot. It's very fun. It's really good. And pitchers are constantly trying to do things to make it harder and harder and harder for players to hit. And it has become so hard to hit the ball. So hard because of the way the pitchers are, the way they've implemented, the way they can bring in 10, 20 pitchers in a game. Not 20, but 10 to 12 pitchers in a game. And, their fresh arms are going to keep going at you. There is a new pitch that they've just discovered and they're utilizing, and they're having a hard time hitting this pitch. It's called the death pitch. It is actually the real official term is going to be called a kick change, and it is almost impossible to hit, and the pitchers are starting to use it. The Yankees reliever, they used him for the last 3 years. He got 74 saves over the last 3 years and was pretty unhittable. He's implemented it. He went over to do our hated rivals, the New York Mets, this year, like Soto did, but he has implemented this year, and nobody's hit a ball off of him yet using this pitch. One of the Mariners, his name is Andres Munoz. He's used it. His pitching coach said he's never seen a crazier, more deadly pitch in his entire life, and he's super happy that this guy's using it. And pitchers have been trying to figure out ways to get one up on the batters the whole time. This is one of the first times I've ever heard of the batters finally trying to even the playing field a little bit more, compared to the advantage the pitchers have.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like this is the first legitimate, real equipment change that's happened in who knows for how long, where it's been super noticeable,
Yeah.
where people are actually talking about it, and then everybody's just like, well, wait, is this legal? Is this not legal? Like, what's going on? Of course it's legal, or else MLB just wouldn't allow it. Like, they're just not going to be like, oh, that looks cool, sure, use it, whatever. We're not going to even look into it. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I like it. And yes, I heard about that pitch, the so-called death pitch. And you know what? It's just the evolution of sport.
Yeah.
It's like that's what we want to see. We want to see crazier pitches. We want to see long balls. Anything that evolves, pushes the sport forward, I am all for it.
They just made an announcement today that Jurickson Profar has been suspended for 80 games today for PED use, and he will be eligible to come back partway through the season. It's 162 games, so about halfway through the year he'll be eligible to come back. But if they make the playoffs, he will be ineligible to play in the playoffs as part of his suspension. And I was happy to see that in a way. I didn't mind the steroid era. I didn't really care. I loved seeing Mark McGuire, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, many of those guys, hit terrific amounts of home runs, and it was a lot of fun for the game. The pitchers were on steroids, so they had, as much muscle to try to get the ball by the guys. And, it was pretty wild time. But now that they're really, really strict and, almost nobody is on PEDs, it's good they're still testing, getting that out of the game as much as they can. And guys are having to face these suspensions for it. So, it's not, one way or the other. The pitchers are trying to get an advantage. The batters are trying to get advantage. Everybody's trying their best to, have a little bit of an advantage to have a successful game, season, career, winning team. Everybody's trying their best.
Yeah, everybody's trying their best. But actually, you know what? Going back, the one thing I loved about the steroid era was the fact that every year the guys just came back bigger every year. Like, and I'm just like, wow, this is actually pretty cool. Look at how big McGuire is now. Look compared to last year. Look at how much bigger he is now. Oh, this is great. Fantastic.
I know, man. Like you see pictures of Barry Bonds when he was first in the league, and then you see him as he, holy, look at the muscle he's put on in the off season. That's amazing. Like,
like it's just like Alistair Overeem just eating horse meat. Who knew? I didn't know that.
I know you sent me that Chuck Liddell knocking out Overeem, and I actually had to watch that again and realize that was Overeem. Look at how skinny he was back in that day. He was in the same division as Chuck Liddell, and Chuck Liddell knocks him out. And then, a few years later, the guy was twice the size of Chuck Liddell.
No, like literally twice the size. Like I remember when he came out and he became Ubereem, and I was just like, would you look at that?
Yeah.
My goodness. And then he literally said with a straight face, just horse meat. That's all I've been doing. That's how you put on like 50 to 60 pounds of straight muscle. And I'm like, oh, that's new to me. I didn't know that. I got to start getting me some horse meat then.
Okay. That's hilarious. Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, man, I don't have to do steroids and I could look like that. Okay. Horse meat, bring it on. I'll just plug my nose, put lots of ketchup on it, and eat it away.
Yep.
Yeah.
All you need.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I love it. Okay, a couple more baseball notes before we move on. You mentioned the Dodgers. The Dodgers have come out of the gate 5-0. The only team that's reached 5-0 so far. They had those 2 games in Japan, so they're 2 games ahead of everybody. The Yankees are the only undefeated team in the American League. The Dodgers are 1-3 in the National League, but they're only 5-0 record. The numbers that they put up in these 5 games, no team in the history of baseball has been able to put 5 games together in a row like this in the history of the game. And these are the first 5 games out of the gate. So I think the Dodgers and the Yankees are on a collision
Yep.
course, and
Yep.
we could get to see it again. Hopefully, the Yankees will give them a better run for their money this time. But it's wild to see two Titanic teams that are spending massive amounts of money, bringing in as much muscle as they can, torpedo bats, death pitches, whatever the hell, Japanese smokers, anything that they need, just bring them in. Let's friggin' make the most massive team and let's win the World Series.
No, yeah, absolutely, man. And then also too, just the players and the athletes on both sides, like for the Yankees and for the Dodgers, you're talking about multiple Hall of Famers on each team.
Yeah.
Like future Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Multiple.
It's awesome.
And so I'm looking forward to it because I think even out of the gate, it looks pretty obvious to me who's going to be there in the World Series.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why I really appreciate baseball still for not having a salary cap. They've got a luxury tax thing that, really makes owners cringe and think, oh, do I want to pay this tax if I'm over this threshold and all that kind of thing. But no cap can have these super teams. And we're not getting that in the cap sports. We're having super teams for a year, then they get broken up. Look at the Eagles. They've been decimated. Decimated. Well, they've lost so many guys from that Super Bowl team. It's brutal. And that's
really?
Yeah, so many guys. We're going to get into it at some point in the podcast, but you can't even believe how many guys the Eagles have lost in this offseason. It's brutal. Luckily, they have 20 draft picks over the next 2 drafts.
Yes.
So, and most of them are in the upper few rounds. And so they're going to be able to bring in a lot of young talent like they did this past season. And luckily, those guys hit. Sometimes they don't. They're not ready. They don't pan out like you think they will. But it's brutal, and it's happening in the NBA with the cap. It's happening in the NHL with the cap. Dynasties are harder and harder and harder to find. And in baseball, with no cap for its existence, we've been able to see some great dynasties over the years. And it looks like these two are gonna be competing with each other at the top for years and years and years to come.
Yeah, and the thing with baseball is it's just like, are you willing to spend the money?
Yeah,
that's it. Like that's literally it. It's like, are you willing to spend the money? Because if you're willing to spend the money, then you're good to go, right? And again, like I think I mentioned before with Ohtani, since he literally represents like an entire country, that means that entire country is behind him. So that means you get all of that economic growth from that country.
Yeah.
Then whatever you paid him is worth it and some.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We obviously get a lot of coverage of the Blue Jays here, being the only Canadian team, and a lot of Blue Jays fans across the nation. The Blue Jays actually went out and did spend a lot of money in this offseason, and we're able to attract quite a few, really high level guys, and they always kind of fell behind, most of those big teams like the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers in attracting the top of the top guys. Usually they were the Cinderella, they were that team, so close, but boom, I've decided to go somewhere else, and they didn't do it. They were able to attract some pretty big guys this year, and it sort of made you have some optimism and some hope. And I think as a baseball fan, I always appreciate here in Canada if the Jays are doing well. Even though they're a division rival of my Yankees, I always appreciate that the Jays are doing well, because more people are watching baseball, talking about baseball, wanting to follow the sport. We're in Vancouver, one of their minor league affiliates here, is here. A lot of those guys are going to be playing on the Jays eventually over the next few years, and so it's great. One of their big free agent signings in the off season is already hurt. Uh, he pitched 3 innings and he hurt his thumb, which
Okay.
has ended up causing him to have a problem with his lat, and
Um,
now he is on the injured list. Will not be able to pitch, and I heard today, but I can't confirm this. I heard today that he has to undergo surgery. So I'm like, what the heck already? Max Scherzer is his name, Hall of Fame pitcher, two-time Cy Young Award winner, World Series champion, one of the greatest pitchers of his generation. In his 40s now, and has had some injury issues in the past couple of years. It was great to see him join the staff, mentor a lot of the younger guys, really show him what it takes to be the elite pitcher that he has been in his career. We're hoping for, 20, 25 starts out of him for the season. He lasted 3 innings and he's out. And what a blow! What a blow! Unbelievable. Pitches are fragile these days, but I didn't expect to see only 3 innings out of him. It reminded me of Aaron Rodgers
Rogers,
blowing
yeah.
out his Achilles first start. Whammo! Not cool.
No, it's never good. It's never good when you're looking at your newest shiny acquisition, and then he pulls an Aaron Rodgers, and then he's done. And he's done immediately. You're just
Yeah.
like, wow. And just because of the nature of the injury, where you thought it was a thumb that went to a lat that went to surgery, and
Yeah.
then you're just like, I don't know what happened there, but that sucks for us.
I was shocked to hear that it had progressed to a lat from a thumb
Uh-huh.
and then surgery. And I believe the surgery is on his hand.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
not the lat. So yeah, we'll see. Opening day was fun to watch the Jays. They had an incredibly splashy celebration. They invited a lot of great old-time players back and relived the history. It was really, made you feel optimistic. The American League East has been decimated with pitcher injuries. Almost every team has lost 2, 3 of their top end guys. And so you thought going in, the Jays, wow, legitimately have a shot at maybe winning this division or just at least being a playoff team. And especially the guys that they brought in, you started thinking, whoa, okay, this could be fun. They brought in some gold glovers. Andres Jimenez, the second baseman there, he's actually a platinum glove guy. He came on to trade with Cleveland. They brought in Anthony Santander. 5 years, 92.5 million, and they brought him over for the Orioles, who is a division rival. Santander hit the third most home runs in Major League Baseball behind Ohtani and Judge last year. So, a big bopper there. They brought in a great reliever that they originally drafted. He went to a few other organizations over his years, and then he came back. They signed him to a 3-year, $33 million deal in the offseason. They brought back another really good pitcher, and they brought back a lot of defense, a lot of really solid players, and some really good young guys have emerged as well. And you started looking at it. I was seeing texts from friends of mine and Jays fans all over X and all over social media. Just absolutely, this team sucks. They're going to suck all year. It was game one and they got hammered. But game one, people were jumping off the ship already. People were saying what a horrible year they're going to have. And I'm like, hold on, hold on. It's a marathon, not a sprint. 162 games. They get out the gate, not great, but come on. You got Vladdy trying to get a $700 million contract. You got Bo not in his contract year too, possibly walk out the door. He wants to light it up. When any player is in a contract year, they have career years. They just
Yeah.
do. And so those two, middle of your lineup, start of your lineup, they're gonna hit well. Their pitching staff's better, their defense is better. Everything looks better for the Jays this year. And I really legitimately think that we could see a playoff team here again in Toronto, in the Jays, and they could actually advance a little bit in the playoffs. They have made the playoffs recently, but never won any games. So it's time to change it. Hopefully they've done it, but no more injuries, please. Max Scherzer, boom, gone already. That was a blow, but yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. It's early, but as I said, it's always better in this country for baseball fans if the Jays are doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. It's always better. And hopefully the Scherzer injury is not foreshadowing for what's to come for the Blue Jays, which would be awful. And also too, like you just said, they're new guys. They got to gel with one another. It's going to take time to get acclimated, to understand the workings of your teammates and stuff. It's just going to take time. But with the moves that they've made, they've most certainly made the team stronger. So let's give it some time. Be a little patient, and then let's see what happens in 20 games or so.
Yeah, I appreciate
See where
that.
they're at.
Good. Yeah, good comments there. One last baseball note. Canadian born in Burnaby, raised in Maple Ridge, Tyler O'Neill had a record going into opening day. He had been the only player in Major League Baseball history to hit home runs on opening day in 5 straight seasons, and he's now increased it to 6. He has hit home runs in 6 consecutive opening days. It is awesome. You can count on him that he's going to come in and bash the ball. I got to send you some pictures of this guy. He's a little Popeye. The guy has muscles on muscles on muscles. And when he hits the ball, it goes out of the park and it goes far. His father, he's genetically dispositioned with it. And his father was Mr. Canada, bodybuilder extraordinaire in the 70s. I think 1975, he was called Mr. Canada, won the bodybuilding competition here nationally. Started hanging out with Arnold and all those boys that made bodybuilding famous back in the 70s, and got Tyler into it as a youngster. And Tyler has been able to get a Major League Baseball career out of it, and pushing a record that he might not stop for years and years and years to come. As I said, there was 3 players that had done it 4 times. He's done it 6 now, and big applause to the Burnaby kid, the Maple Ridge kid. Really great to see a BC boy doing so well.
Oh, it's fantastic to hear like that, because who's going to be able to equal that at any point in time soon? Probably not for the longest time. And considering the fact that it's still going, because there's still season 7 and season 8 and season.
Yeah,
I hope he keeps it going for as long as he can, man.
I
It's going to
know.
be
Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah. The 3 guys that had 4, Yogi Berra. Okay.
Yep.
He's been gone for quite a few years. Gary Carter, also gone for quite a few years. And a guy named Todd Hundley. They did it back, 4 years in a row, but incredible. 6 years in a row, and still going, still going. His dad was in the stands, and you could see him. He still jacked as heck, and he was pumping his fist. That's my boy. That's my boy. Yeah,
Nice.
it was pretty cool to see. They made the trip out to Toronto. They faced Toronto on opening day, and yeah, it was pretty neat.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Like, it's always good to see like the parents in the stands cheering on their kids, man. Like it's heartwarming.
Yeah, it sure is. I have other news and notes, but I really, really, really want to get to the UFC. I want to break down the UFC with you, and let's get into it. I love that the UFC is listening to me and getting the hell out of the Apex and moving it around the world. We had it in London last week, and we get it in Mexico this week, and the atmosphere was phenomenal there. It was absolutely amazing. That arena is a must go to for me. It seats about 22,500 fans, and I wondered what kind of sporting events that went on there, and so I looked it up, and I saw a basketball game going on there. 22,500 fans. That's bigger than most North American arenas. The Rogers Arena we have downtown here seats about 18,500, so another 4,000. They have a lot of concerts there. They have a lot of events, but the atmosphere, man, was unreal. And it's really, like I said off the top of the show, The Mexicans are really embraced the sport. They're loving their athletes. Brandon Moreno, could run for mayor, president of the country, and probably win it. It's really great to see how Mexican MMA is so strong right now.
No, you know what? It's great because you had guys like Cain Velasquez that really pushed
Yep.
that narrative, and
Yep.
it's cool because like Mexico, period. Like you remember when they were at the Sphere and they
Yep.
did the like
Incredible.
that was
Epic.
incredible,
Epic.
visually incredible,
Yep.
and it just paid homage to the fact that Mexico is synonymous with combat sports.
Yep.
They have a rich history, and I'm just happy to see that MMA is now a part of that history, and they continue to make history with great MMA Mexican fighters.
Yeah. Yeah. I just absolutely think it's so great, and it's so nice that we've been able to break the MMA and the UFC been able to break through that boxing wall, and made it a sport that they're passionate about and that they love. Um, One narrative about Mexico City is that its elevation is so crazy high, and you
Yep.
have to go there, acclimatize to it, or you're gonna gas out and you're in trouble. 7,350 feet above sea level, 2,240 meters. That is insane. Nearly a mile and a half above sea level. There are a lot of uh, camps now in high elevation places: Albuquerque, New Mexico, Colorado. Obviously, here in Mexico, UFC put the PI down there, and I'm so happy at how many fighters are using that Performance Institute at high elevation and going there and being able to fight elite. I didn't see many fighters gassed during that card, and
Yep.
that was really a difference. Because I saw fights in Mexico before, and the fighters were getting gassed quick and early, and it was leading to some really sloppy, not very fun to watch fighting. I saw fighters fighting at an elite level who had acclimatized themselves, had trained at high level in Mexico or other places around the world, and were able to maintain that gas tank and fight at a great level. And so many fights were so good.
So many fights were so good. You're absolutely correct. Like it it made the fights that we were watching at the best that they could possibly be because they didn't gas out. They acclimatized themselves. They did all the right things, and it was a very very enjoyable UFC. That's for sure to watch.
Yep.
And I just love the fact that the crowd was super behind it. They were very very much into it.
They sure were. Yeah. The native Mexican fighters on the card were Brandon Moreno, Edgar Shires, David Martinez, Manuel Torres, Ronaldo Rodriguez, and Lupi Godinez, who has a Vancouver link, who trains here. And it was awesome to see. As always, let's talk about the main event and Brandon Moreno. This guy has he's been Canada's GSP. He's been the
Yeah.
guy really
Yeah.
to first hold the belt there and become so beloved. He is so beloved. You can tell how passionate he is about the sport. Emotionally, it just absolutely touches every feel that he has when he wins and when he pours his heart into it. This was a razor thin fight. It was very close. Every
Yep.
round was very close. And that's one of the beauties of the flyweight division, is how elite the guys are at the top level and how razor thin so many of the fights are. It's very hard to judge, very fun to watch because they're so fast. There's always action. It was almost like this was a boxing fight because
Yeah.
it was not really clinching. There wasn't ground fighting. It was just toe to toe and throwing shot for shot and trying to get the better of him. He was landing the more powerful punches.
Pushed up. Yeah.
He was definitely putting the more damage on Steve Ursig, and I thought he deserved that scorecard. I did 49-46. That's what I wrote down at the end of the fight, and I think it was but a lot of those rounds were just razor thin, so close. Could have easily went Urseg's way, but Brandon Moreno, what a legend. He's been in there in so many fights. I think they said that was his 15th 5-round main event fight in his career, and that's amazing. That's amazing to be in there with the top of the top for that long and still be fighting for a belt, looking like his next fight.
Yeah, like it was impressive. It was impressive because as impressed as I was with Moreno, I was super impressed with Ursay.
Yeah,
Like he looked really good.
really good.
Like just looking at the styles make fights, just the way that Moreno fights within a shell, using
Yeah,
those traps and using those shoulders, having the chin tucked and exploding into punches and combinations, whereas Urseg is completely technical. He's a technical master when
yeah,
it comes to his striking. And just seeing the two do their chess match in the octagon as they're trying to figure each other out and trying to see, it's like, so like it was literally a chess match.
yeah.
I loved every second of that fight. And I had Moreno winning as well, like you did. But dude, it was so close. And like I felt bad for Ursay, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
because he looked that good and he was that on point, and he still lost.
I know. Yeah. I do feel bad for Ursig. I felt bad for him at that moment, and I felt bad for him as I thought about it over the last couple of days. He's been thrust into a crazy MMA career where he's had to fight the top of the top right away. He
Yeah.
went into this fight still ranked number 8 against the number 2 ranked fighter. So pretty amazing, that he's been doing that. The first fight of his MMA career, he fought here in Vancouver. I saw the fight, and he's been thrust into some crazy battles. The last 3 fights were against the champion, Alexander Pantoja, where it was another razor close fight. He could have easily won that fight. Kai Kara France, who's now fighting for the belt, and
Yeah.
Brandon Moreno, 2-time defending champion. Like, they're not giving him any easy fights. They're not giving him anything to warm up. He's had to fight three of the top 3 fighters in the
Yeah.
world his last 3
Yeah.
fights, and he's lost them all. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough business in the UFC, and he should not hang his head at all. That
No.
was a great performance. Just barely lost to one of the greatest fighters of all time.
Yeah, just barely came up short. And by the way, you said his rank is 8. Yeah, he shouldn't move. Like as far as I'm concerned, like
No.
he literally should not lose his position. It's like,
Yeah.
no, that was as close as it gets. Yeah, you're still 8.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You're fighting somebody that high or ranked than
Yeah.
you, and you
Yeah.
held him to that. I don't think he should move. You're right. Yeah. I guess everyone's gonna ask now, what do they do with Moreno? And I think as I mentioned last week, I think that Kai Kara France and Alexander Pantoja are fighting next.
Fighting.
I
Yeah.
believe that's in May, and maybe it's June. And
Yeah.
then do we see Moreno fighting the winner?
Who else could he fight? Like, is it that Albazi guy or something like that?
Yeah, actually, yeah, it could maybe, yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, to me, he deserves it. I think
Yeah,
it's
that's
time.
what I would say. Like
Yeah,
after that, like I would say he deserves it. Or Moreno fights that guy that I just mentioned, Albazi or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it's Albazi. Or he fights him to see who would be the number 1 contender to fight Pantoja if he wins, or if Kai Kara France, or I should say this: if Kai Kara France wins, him versus Moreno.
right.
But if Pantoja wins again, I think it's maybe Moreno versus Albazi, and then it's a number 1 contender out of that fight. Fights Pantoja.
I heard this, and you probably did too.
Right.
There was, there have been 7 former champions fight so far in 2025. Moreno was the 8th, I believe, and only
Okay.
one had a victory in 2025, and that was Yuri Prohachka beating the former champion Jamal Hill.
Jamal Hill. Yeah.
And out of the 7 fighters that had fought, former champions, they had all lost. So it was not a guarantee that Moreno was going to be able to beat number 8. And after all the wars that he's been in, it's incredible to see him still at that elite level, still be able to grind out amazing wins like this over very tough competition and getting another shot at it. It's pretty wild and pretty incredible, and really adding to a resume that's Hall of Fame worthy and legendary in the sport.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's adding to that resume, and he's just building his legend.
Yeah. The Assassin Baby, pretty wild, pretty great, and yeah, always loved watching him fight. It was a cool main event. Let's talk about the co-main event.
Wait.
Do you want
No,
to
no,
talk
I was just gonna say no. I was just gonna say it was quick.
Oh,
Quick.
yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't think Drew Dober knows it's over yet.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
think he might still be wanting to fight because he definitely didn't know it was over in the cage for quite a long time.
Dude, like it kind of scary when the guy gets up like that and he's just like, still ready to go. And it's like, no, but no, it's over. I'm gonna say this real quick. Didn't like how Torres was calling him on. Maybe it was a culture thing, but it's like, dude, I don't know if you've noticed, but he's seriously concussed.
Yeah.
He has no idea what's going on right now.
No.
There's no need for you to call him on because he doesn't know that the fight is over.
Yeah.
Like literally doesn't know. Like I didn't like that part, but I will give it to Torres when it comes to this. That dude has some serious freaking power.
Wow.
My God. Yeah. I didn't think he had power like that. Like
No.
that is scary.
Yeah.
Scary. How about this? His power was so scary that when he was delivering those hammer fists, I could hear on the broadcast Daniel Cormier and the lady that's also on the broadcast, Laura Sanko saying, "Stop!" Like, they're just like, he's gonna die here, like literally.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think he should have stopped the fight after the 8th unanswered shot. Laura counted 15. It was 15 unanswered shots before the ref, which is, to his credit, was much like yourself saying, I think he's still moving. Oh, okay. He's not moving anymore.
He's not. Yeah, it was it was maybe an early stoppage, but yeah, it was weird. He just wouldn't let go of that leg and just took 15 hammer fists to the dome until he was concussed pretty bad, and then he's like, "Hey, what'd you stop it for? What the hell?" I'm like, it was pretty rough. He definitely was like, "Hey, what's going on here? Why?" He couldn't stand straight. Yeah. Oh man, it was insane. Yeah. The power for El Loco. Holy cow, this guy is scary. And look out, division. He's going to be on a tear. Another Mexican that delighted the crowd. And stiff jab, very powerful right hand that dropped him, and then those hammer fists were just relentless. They gave him a 50K bonus for the victory, and he deserved it. It's nice when you can finish it that quick, never take any abuse, and you get 50K bonus too. He could fight next week. He didn't take any abuse at all.
No, he could literally fight next week. But I'm sorry, man, but that guy should be like the boogeyman. No, I think he's my boogeyman in that division because that dude's power is on another level. It's on another level, man. Yeah.
And this is against a veteran in Dober who
it's extremely durable.
15 KOs on his record. He's been fighting almost 12 years on the roster of the UFC. Tied for the most KOs in the division history. 4th most finishes and a killer himself, a guy that's a lot of power, knocked out a ton of guys, great chin, and he took him down really, really quick and easy.
Yeah, man. Like Dober's extremely durable. He's
Yeah.
an extremely durable fighter, and that dude starched him. Like he didn't make it. He made it look easy
Yeah.
against a guy that's really, really hard to put away.
I have a few stats here or pieces of information here I want to throw in too before we move forward. This was the 8th UFC event in Mexico, 7 in Mexico City and 1 in Monterrey. The next Mexican card is that Noche fight card in September, and it's in Guadalajara. And
Oh,
so most of these Mexican fighters are hoping to fight on that card as well. There are actually 19 active UFC Mexican fighters. So that's pretty amazing. I didn't realize the number had got up that high. 3 former champions, Brandon Moreno, Yair Rodriguez, and Alexa Grasso. And the first Mexican male to fight and win in the UFC was Efran Escudero back in 2008. And the first Mexican female to fight and win was Alexa Grasso, beating Heather Jo Clark back in 2016. So cool stats about the Mexican things there. But they're going to do that Noche in Guadalajara, and supposedly it's going to be one of those tributes again. Not obviously as the same level as the Spear, but it's going to be great all the same.
still going to be awesome. Still going to be very good, and it's definitely going to be a must see.
Yeah, must see too. Another Mexican native was able to get a very quick win in the fight before that. Edgar Shirez was able to beat CJ Vergara 2:30 into the first round. Was able to knock him down. As he was getting up, he was able to jump on him, pull him close, drop down to the ground, sink in a choke. It was on the chin, but it was just going to break his jaw. Forced the tap on Vergara to get Mark Goddard to come in and stop the fight. And really great, quick win. 50K went to him as well. And they were 3 for 3 in those Mexicans off the top, the main event, co-main event, and the fight right before that.
Yeah, Chirez was impressive. I had no idea that his wingspan was like literally, what did they say on the broadcast, was like that of a heavyweight.
I
The
know.
length of his arms was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So to try to get in on the inside of that guy, it's like, well, you're just gonna have to pay a price every single time.
Yeah.
And Vergara, he paid a price, all right. He sure did, right?
Yeah.
So I was super impressed with Chirez. He kind of made that look easy. When he sunk in that choke where I'm like, oh, it's not under the, no, it doesn't matter. You can tell.
Yeah.
Like you could tell how much force he was putting on that choke. And it's like, yeah, the dude had to tap.
It was awesome. It was really impressive. He's super tough too. And just lots of power. Obviously great skill too, and got his 8th career submission victory there, got 50K too. And his story about his grandfather really touched me too. Do you remember what he said?
Oh, I do not.
So he said that his MMA career had been stalled because he needed surgery, but he couldn't afford to pay for it. So his grandfather sold his truck so he could have the money, and got the surgery, was able to get back training and get back to the UFC fighting. I think he was gone for about 2 years. His grandfather was in the front row last time they had the fight in Mexico. He said, I'm sure he's in the front row of heaven now. And he had passed away in that meantime as he was trying to get back to full health. But his grandfather sacrificed his beloved truck to get the money. He said he was like a father to him, and was able to help him with his career. And he couldn't stop crying because he just wished his grandfather was there, that he could thank for him personally, but he had passed away in that meantime. And yeah, that sacrifice, wasn't lost on him. It was pretty wild, pretty amazing that he shared that with everyone, because it just was breaking him up big time.
Oh yeah, of course, man. Like, and it's just because it's those memories and that emotion that you remember, the things that other people sacrificed so that you could be where you are right now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the fact that, yeah, there's something to be said that it absolutely was there in spirit, sitting right there and appreciating the fact that his grandson was doing him proud.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Raul Rosas Jr., still the youngest fighter on the roster, just 20 years old. Seems like he's been around a while, 4-fight win streak, and was able to really able to dominate, I thought, sinking in chokes, great, getting a lot of very impressive strikes in throughout the fight. Ended up getting the unanimous decision, 2 rounds to 1, and yeah, and it's unreal that he could be this good at such a young age.
Yeah, definitely that he is that good at this young age. Very impressive. He pretty much won the grappling contest, and he just didn't win in that third round. I'll say this: Morales is always game,
Yeah,
never gives up on himself, and he almost had him in that anaconda choke a couple, like twice in that
twice.
third
Yeah,
round,
true. Yeah, yeah,
twice in that third round,
yeah,
where he almost pulled it out of the fire. But I was impressed
yeah.
because of the fact that he was definitely, he lost the last 2 rounds. Going into the third, he needed a finish, and the fact that he almost pulled that off, I thought was quite impressive.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah, yeah. The patience that Rosas showed too was pretty wild. He was holding his thumb up like, okay, I might be going
Yep,
out, but I'm still good. I'm still
no, there.
good. And
Yeah.
luckily saved by the bell probably there. So okay, we had a UFC debut in Dr. David Martinez. They call him the Black Spartan. His sister also fights. Melissa fights in the UFC, and it's only the second brother-sister combination to ever
Yep.
fight in the UFC. Pretty impressive UFC debut, and he's also 50K richer. He got one of the bonuses of the night for his huge win. Um, Amazing. Gets him down, drops him with a knee, grounded pound. Just forced Mark Goddard to come in and stop it, and yeah, have a successful UFC debut. And I wanted to say changed his life, but he's probably already fairly well off being a doctor. So the 50K is nice, but pretty cool to see a doctor in there. See a guy with his UFC debut have such an incredible performance, and have his sister in the corner helping him get ready for it. It's really cool for the whole entire Martinez family.
I don't know how many other doctors have been in the UFC besides the one that we saw over in that Asian UFC. I think the Chinese fighter that
Yeah,
was also a
yeah,
doctor.
that girl. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the woman.
but I will say this: it seems that if you're a doctor in the UFC, you get knockouts. That's what you do. You get
Right.
knockouts.
Yeah,
And I was impressed. I thought Martinez looked absolutely fantastic.
yeah,
To be honest, I thought Oliveira was a little bit overmatched
yeah,
because I thought Martinez just did whatever he wanted with that guy
yeah,
in that octagon that particular night. And when he hit him with the right, wobbled him, and then dropped him with the knee, and then ground pound finish, beautiful, beautifully done. I thought his striking was completely on point the entire fight. Yeah,
yeah.
total utter domination by
The
Martinez.
odds makers definitely had Martinez as a huge favorite,
Yeah.
minus 550. Simon Oliveira was plus 410. The tough part for Oliveira was he was coming off a 2-year layoff, also off a major surgery. He actually ruptured his intestine and from a kick during a fight, and it almost killed him. He had to undergo some emergency surgery, and took him a long time to recover. So, good on him that he's been able to get his career back on track and fighting. But I thought that they overmatched it and gave him too much of a killer right off the bat. Even though it was his UFC debut, you could see on the regional circuit that he was unbelievable. And hopefully they give Oliveira another chance really soon, and against somebody that's a little closer to him right now in skill level and experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Like give him like what do they call that in boxing? Some warm up fights. Don't just throw him to the killer and be like, man, I know you just got over that intestinal thing that almost killed you, but good luck in there, buddy.
Yeah, not giving him any favors at all.
Yeah, no, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the first fight on the main card. This was not supposed to be on the main card. It was supposed to be on the prelims, but we had the fight fall off. We got Montezuma's Revenge. What's the fight that fell off again?
Oh, not sure. I can't
Kelvin
remember.
Gastelum.
Oh, yes.
Joe Pyfer. Joe Pyfer ended
What
up
happened?
Joe Pyfer ended up getting Montezuma's Revenge. He got a stomach bug and was incredibly sick, could not function. DC said he was having trouble. DC said his trouble was because he can't drink warm soda, so he got lots of ice all the time, and the ice just killed him. Food was running through DC the whole week. He said some of the best food he ever had, but he couldn't keep it down. And lots of fighters actually were dealing with that. I understand from the time there, they had a little water, sipping on something, had wrong food or whatever. Almost every fighter got sick in the weeks they were there.
That's the bad thing about going there to Mexico City. Yeah. It's almost, if you got a proper, I'm just going to say this, if you got a proper fight camp with guys that have been to that city before, you have to have your meals prepped beforehand. Yeah. Yeah. You actually, like, just for that time that you got to fight, whatever, you can't go out and eat their food. You can't do that. You can't put yourself at risk. And the other thing that I've always remembered whenever I've gone down to South America, bottled water at all times. You can't drink out of the tap. You can't have any ice. Bottled water. Yes. All the time.
Yes, that's a must. It's just it's just something you got to do. And Joe Pyfer said he's unsure what caused his illness, but vows to never return to that hole. F that country, he said.
Okay, you know what? The country's still very nice, but I understand his sentiments because it did cost him like a fantastic fight. Hopefully they reschedule that fight, by the way, with Gastelum, because I think that will be an absolute banger.
I know.
Maybe they put it up like higher up in like maybe it's a co-main event now or something on another card or whatever, but they gotta run that back. That fight has to happen.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so we had Ronaldo Rodriguez against Kevin Borjas, El Gallo Negro. This was an absolutely amazingly good performance by Borjas. I haven't seen somebody use counter striking this well in a long time. It might be years since I've seen somebody with a master class of using his counter striking this well. His accuracy was phenomenal. His punching power was evident, and he was the underdog coming in, but he shouldn't have been. He is a world-class fighter and really had an incredibly great performance in this one to beat a super tough guy in Ronaldo Rodriguez.
I think he dropped him in this fight. I want to say at least 3 times.
Yeah.
Right. So
he dropped him. He dropped him 3 times in the first round. He dropped him 3 times. Yeah.
So I thought to myself, first off, I was like you, the counter striking was like just ridiculous. Like every time Rodriguez made a mistake, he made him pay.
Yeah.
Like dearly.
Unreal.
Made him pay. Unreal, and the fact that Rodriguez was still in that fight was a testament to that guy's chin, because there's no way any other fighter, I'm sorry, done.
Yeah.
Done in that first round. Done.
Well, I read a story today about Rodriguez that really blew my mind. He missed weight.
Yeah.
He missed weight by 1 pound, and you know that happens. I always criticize the fighters, and you know especially the ones that miss it. You know, fight after fight, and you know some of them miss it by 3, 4, 5 pounds. I
Yeah.
wasn't planning on criticizing him too much about this, but he revealed today that his weight cut ended up causing him to be hospitalized. I don't know if he's been released yet, but he was hospitalized Monday due to complications stemming from his failed weight cut. He was fined 20% of his purse, and he was feeling so bad that he ended up checking into the hospital. I see a picture of him in the hospital with his girlfriend here. Um, Unfortunately, they haven't shared a ton of information on top of that, but yeah, he said it almost killed him. So you know, you got to give a guy a little bit of a pass there, but I'm still giving Kevin Borjas a ton of credit because that was a really impressive performance, and especially those first three knockdowns. Not one judge gave anything but a 10-9 for that. How do you do that? There's three knockdowns. I had a 10-8. I was thinking
I thought
in
10-8.
boxing I'd be having what, a 10-6 here? Is
Yes.
that what I'm doing here? Like,
No.
what the hell? So,
Yeah.
you know, every single judge had a 10-9 that round. Imagine
Definitely.
if it got turned around on Rodriguez one, then you know the next two rounds he wins the fight. Like, come on, like that was incredible, and you know, thankfully Rojas kept it up and kept winning the rounds. But you know, how do you get a 10-8 round? Oh, how can you get a 10 or 8 round if you knock a guy three times down, like, and you don't get a 10-8 round?
Okay, the only reason why I could say that they gave it a 10-9 round, which doesn't make any sense anyways, because he knocked him down 3 times and he dominated that round, by the way, was the fact that Rodriguez kept getting up and kept coming forward.
Right.
And then that's the only reason that I would give for that, but I don't think that's a good enough reason, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah. Well, that one get up that he had was pretty
Yeah, yeah.
wild, where he
Where
rolled
he
and
rolled.
flipped. That
Yeah, yeah.
was wild. I haven't seen a guy do that. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah, no, he just demonstrated like unbelievable toughness, and now knowing what he was actually going through in that fight, and the fact that he did not get knocked out, that's even more ridiculous.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the feature prelim. We had Jose Daniel Medina against Atiba Goter. And this was a UFC debut for the Cameroon fighter. He reminded me of a mini Francis Ngannou, and you know they're from the same country. I don't know why or how they can breed such physical athletic specimens in Cameroon, but holy cow, the difference in the bodies of these two
Yeah,
fighters
yeah, I know.
was stunning. Like,
Yeah,
I haven't
stunning.
seen two of the more opposite people having to face each other in the octagon and maybe ever. It was insane. And Medina is tough. He's an incredible fighter. It
Right.
was pretty wild to see, but I thought we were going to see a knockout, and Medina faced this beast. And look out, look out. The UFC debut this was only his 8th MMA fight. And, you know, he was able to get a 50K bonus for an incredible knockout victory. And look out, look out. This guy looks friggin' unbelievable. And oh my God, I'm so happy he's in the UFC. He's going to be super fun to watch.
Yeah, you got a new scary guy in that division. You got a new scary guy. Like I'm sorry, man. As soon as I saw that, I go, I think Goche is gonna win this, and I think it's gonna be by knockout.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm just looking at the physicality between the two men, and I know how tough Medina is. I know that,
Yeah.
but I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. This is a bad matchup for you. So, and it was. He landed that big knee, and it was over and done. He actually, it was a walk-off big knee, because he didn't need to follow it up with anything.
No, no.
Because I think the ref was just like, there's no way I'm going to let that guy ground and pound that dude. There's just no way. No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it was it was a bit of an early stoppage, but you know, it wasn't gonna end pretty. There was no way
it
it was
was not.
ending pretty,
No, it wasn't.
but you know, Medina was ready to go. Come on, what do you mean? I'm ready to go. He rocked me. Who cares? I'm ready. Let's do this thing.
Yeah.
Too little, too late. And no, it was a mismatch body wise for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm glad this guy's in the UFC. I kind of forgot about his fight in the Dana White Contender Series. I just had to go watch it again, and incredible. I'm so glad that he's part of the roster, and I hope they can get him in there again really soon. And I hope he becomes that guy that Francis Ngannou was going to be, because, I think the guy has the ability to move up in weight quite a bit. And, we were kind of robbed of Ngannou after he got into the fight with the UFC and left. So, nice to see another Cameroonian fighter looking this good this early, and the ability to probably be in the UFC for tons of years to come.
You know what'd be funny? I just thought of this. What would be funny is he just follows the exact same path as Ngannou, and then has to go, well, I guess I'm out to leave. Don't like Cameroonians. Got it. We're out.
Out of there. Yeah. I was trying to look up. Oh yeah, he's 22 years old. Yeah. That's the other thing that blew my mind. 22, only 22 years old. So 6'4", 185 at 22. I definitely think he has the ability to fight at much higher weight classes. I can't believe he's that much of a killer already against a really tough guy and a good fighter in Medina. And it was one of my favorite moments of the night, watching him come in and annihilate Medina.
Yeah, because now that you say that, he's at middleweight, and I'm like, yeah, dude looks like he was a light heavyweight. Sorry, he was massive. As soon as he got in the octagon, I'm like, would you look at this guy? They made him in a lab? That's pretty cool. Right on.
I know. It was unreal. Yeah, so cool. So great that the Dana White Contender Series keeps churning out. It's rare now that I'm not writing DWCS under the majority of the fighters on a card now. It's rare that I'm not saying Dana White Contender Series, Dana White Contender Series. That's how they came in, and that is just replenishing the roster, and it's really finding guys all over the globe. It's unreal how it's just such a great feeder system. It's just been such a godsend for the UFC and for fight fans.
No, because he's just finding these hidden gems, and then on top of that, it just raises the level of competition.
Yeah,
consistently and all the time, which is exactly what us as craven UFC fight fans, exactly what we want to see.
Yeah, totally, 100%. The fight between Christian Rodriguez and Ezekiel Costa, really good featherweight bout. I really enjoyed this fight. Definitely even that last round, great last round. It was, to me, it was 2-0 for Costa. They yelled at C-Rod in his corner, you got to get a friggin' finish or you're losing this fight. Go out and do it. And he tried his best in that third round to get the victory. It was just a little too late. Couldn't get the finish, and Costa ended up winning a unanimous decision, 2-1. But great fight. Really enjoyed this battle. It was a really, really fun matchup.
Very entertaining fight, highly competitive. I just thought that Costa had a better mix of strikes when he was standing up and was able to create the scrambles when he needed to within the grappling, and got top position at key moments in that fight, to secure that victory. So Costa, very, very good job, but it was a very, very competitive fight.
Yeah, you're right. Always good to see Lupe Godinez in there. She had a tough girl to fight in Yulia Piastri. Um, Lupe had unfortunately lost 2 fights going into this one on 2-fight losing streak, but she was able to finally fight in Mexico for the first time ever and put on a great performance. Those first 2 rounds landed a lot of nice power punches. Was really, really good and was dominating. I thought. I think she gassed out a bit in that
I
third
mean, third
round.
round. Yeah.
And I said it earlier. I didn't see too many fighters gas out. I think Lupe was one of them.
Yeah.
Luckily, she wasn't finished, but she had already got the first 2 rounds in the books. Was able to get the win. It was toe to toe in that third round, but I thought Piastri pulled out the round, but not the fight.
Yeah. I thought Gudinez's boxing was definitely on point. But that third round where Piastri was just like literally going forward like the Korean zombie and just taking hits and throwing her own, I thought that was actually pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The other thing about this fight that I can't believe that they were actually talking about on the broadcast, because I don't know if it was from the truck that they say you got to mention it or something like that. But the fact that they said, well, did you hear what they said what Gudinez said in her corner? I think after the second round, and I'm just like, what could she have possibly said? And a lot of it's almost like they didn't want to say it,
Yeah.
but the Cormier kept pushing it. Like, don't got you heard it. You got to, but I'm like, oh, come on, man. Do we really need to talk about that at this point in time? And so then now my thinking is totally skewed because of stupid Daniel Cormier. So now I'm thinking, oh, she can't push forward because she's feeling something pushing out.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it affected her because she said
yeah.
something. She looked at the corner man a couple times and was like,
Yeah.
"Oh God, it's bad. It's
Yeah.
really bad." So
Yeah, exactly. Right.
yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, you know what? If she loses this round, not a big deal. She got the first 2, whatever.
Yeah.
But she did have to survive it because Polestri was coming on like the Korean zombie, walking through shots and giving her own, and I was super impressed by that.
I was totally impressed. Actually, this was my favorite female fight I've seen in probably years, and
It was a great fight.
it was a really great toe-to-toe battle
Yep.
through most of it. And I have a soft spot in my heart for local fighters, and it's so great that she still trains here locally, and even though it was in her home country. She still chose to train here before she went down there, got a bit acclimatized, and had that fight. I don't know how early she got there. There was some fighters I heard that were there a month early.
Month
Most of
early,
them
yeah.
were there weeks early. But yeah, she definitely gassed a little bit. It could have been a full and I'm glad because if she lost her bowels there, she would be forever known as Poopy, not Loopy.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Don't
yeah,
need that.
it would have been nasty, not good. And I'm glad she was able to make it to the washroom before anything happened. I mentioned off the top about the combined record of the former UFC champions in 2025, 1-6, the sole victory, Yuri Prochazka over Jamal Hill. The losers were Israel Adesanya, Jan Blachowicz, Henry Cejudo, Leon Rocky Edwards, and Jamal Hill. So, Moreno's changed that narrative to 2-6 now, but it's hard. Once you're at the top of the mountain, you get knocked off. You really, really, really have a hard time getting right back up to that top of that mountain again. And so you got to, tip your cap big time to Moreno for what he's doing.
Oh yeah, definitely. You definitely have to tip your cap to that. The fact that like he can do what he did,
Yeah.
considering what all the other guys haven't been able to do.
Yeah. Okay, we got to fly through the last couple.
By the way,
do you want to
I
make
just
mention of some of
wanted
these
to say
other
this
ones?
real quick.
Go ahead.
The Garcia Pichel, that was the last fight I was able to see.
Okay. Tell me what you thought of it.
Well, first off, I thought it was pretty competitive, but I thought Garcia was definitely won this fight because of his forward action. I thought he was better with his combinations. And I thought to a certain extent he was definitely the busier fighter. I thought at times Pichel was kind of what would Daniel Cormier call it? Like looking in the mirror. He wasn't throwing enough.
Right.
He wasn't throwing enough strikes. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. He's the oldest fighter on the roster. So we
Yeah.
had the youngest and we had the oldest, 42 years old, current active roster. Vince Pichel is the oldest. And you could tell that it took him a little bit of time to, figure out. And when he
Yeah.
was about to throw it, he was already gone.
Yeah.
And I've heard from older fighters that that's what goes with them. They think about the shot, and by the time their brain tells them to throw it, the guy's already gone. They either throw it and they miss, or they double clutch because they realize he's gone. And
Yeah.
so, that might be happening to Pichel. Mark Montoya, one of my favorite coaches in MMA, imploring him to put more action. You got to throw more. You got to do it. Imploring him the whole entire time. And Pichel just couldn't. It just couldn't. And it's possibly because of the speed advantage that you get when you're younger.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it's just the age. It's that the mind to body connection is just not as sharp as what it once was. And I think Pichel has definitely been suffering from that.
I did give one of the rounds to Pichel. I gave him the second round. He outstruck him 32-12, and I gave it. Two of the judges are complete idiots, and gave all 3 rounds to Garcia. So, but it was a just decision, so I'm not going to harp on it. Okay, I'll just mention Jamal Emmers in very impressive knockout victory for him. He was, he got it 4 minutes into that first round. Really incredible. Stiff right hand dropped Miranda. Then he was able to jump in and, get the victory. It was, he looked like a killer, and it was a super impressive performance. A great victory there. And I was pissed off after the opening fight of the night between Markel Medeiros and Austin Hubbard. Hubbard won that fight, and the judges gave it to Medeiros. And I thought, oh, here we go. Here we go. First fight of the night. They get the decision wrong. This is crap. And they didn't screw up too much other than that fight I just talked about, that one round. But I thought, you're in another country, you're using sometimes, questionable judges. The one thing that I did notice in this fight card that was interesting was on the prelims, they used Mexican judges and referees. On the main card, they used the normal judges and referees that the UFC uses for many international events and US events.
Okay, well, you know what? It makes sense. It's probably was the deal that they made to go and put the thing on where it's like, well, we want our guys to learn how to do it properly. So this is what you're going to do.
Right.
If you're going to have this event in our country.
I like it.
Yeah. Which makes sense. It does make sense.
I like it. I think it's cool, and it makes sense to me. Yeah. Briefly, let's talk about next week. UFC on ESPN, Emmett versus Murray. We got a really great heavyweight battle. I'm super looking forward to. This is an early card. It starts. Let's see.
3 o'clock?
Nope. I guess it starts at around noon. No, maybe around 2 o'clock Pacific time. And then prelims. They got an early prelims, and then the main card starts at, what time does it say? 6 o'clock Pacific, I guess. So just a little bit early, not super early, but Josh Emmett, super tough guy. Tons of power in his hands, had a lot of knockouts. I call him a veteran, been around quite a while, has fought some of the best. He's number 8 fighting Lerone Murphy, ranked number 10. Emmett's been in with much stiffer competition than Lerone has. I kind of throw down a few names. He knocked out Bryce Mitchell, Calvin Cater, Dan Ige, Shane Burgos, Mizar Bektic, and others more and more. Emmett's, yeah, really, really tough fight. This is a pretty cool matchup, though. I think this was a great fight that they put together between two tough guys. Emmett's 19-4, 10-4 in the UFC, and Lerone Murphy's 15-0-1, one draw, 7-0 in the UFC, 7-0 and a draw in the UFC. But as I said, not the same competition. The only same component that he's fought was Dan Ige. He did get a victory over him, and Edson Barbosa. And then the rest of the guys, honestly, are journeymen or prospects, not the type of killers. So this is a test for Lerone. See if he can beat a guy this level and enter into that top 10 and start putting that O on the line against the killers that are at the top of the featherweight division.
Yep, this is I totally agree with you. This is his ultimate test to see if he can hang.
Yeah.
And if he can get past Emmett, then bigger fights are ahead. But if he can't, then this is where he stays.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right where he is right now.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to quite a few of the fights on the card. It doesn't have a huge amount of top names, but the one fight that I'm really looking forward to is two veterans, been in the sport for a massive amount of years and have had a lot of great battles. Brad Tavares against Gerald Mearshart. I'm calling that going to be the fight of the night. And it is a great matchup that I've been looking forward to seeing for a super long time against two guys. Like I think both of them have been more than a decade in the UFC and have fought the best of the best.
Fought the best of the best. Styles make fights, and somehow, some way, that Gerald Mearshart, he's just wildly. He somehow figures out a way to find a way to win, and I'm looking forward to it. I totally agree with you. I think probably will be the best fight on this main card.
Yeah. This is cool that we have a featherweight fight at the main event here. We also have a featherweight fight 2 weeks from now. The Volkanovski Diego Lopez fight, the featherweight championship, after Ilia Topuria vacated his belt. These guys are fighting for the championship there. That's going to be a killer card. That's going to be a hell of a good fight. And Lerone and Josh Emmett, will have eyeballs from those two guys on this one, and I'm sure in turn they're going to be watching the top of the division the next week after this fight this coming Saturday.
Yep, absolutely. And you know what? Actually, on that card, there's two other featherweight fights too on that card, and Patricio Pitbull makes his UFC debut on that card against Yair Rodriguez. That will be absolutely awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait. I cannot wait. It's going to be incredible. Okay, sticking with the mixed martial arts world, Global Fight League released today their first two events coming up in May. They will have two events back to back on the same weekend. It's Memorial Weekend in the US. Typically, it's our Victoria Day weekend. I've called it since I was a teenager, May 2-4 weekend. And it's the 24th and the 25th of May. Unfortunately, we have our holiday the week before on the 19th this year. Supposedly, if the Monday falls 25th or past, they do it the week before. If it falls one day past, then we get it this weekend. But anyway, there are 31 fights happening over the 2 days. And do you have something to look at the fight cards and Global Fight League?
Pull it up. Global Fight League.
Can you pull it up? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to do exactly the same and see if I can enlarge it, because there's so many fights that it's quite small on my screen.
Okay.
And so I'm trying my best to
pull it all up.
Pull it up here. Yes. Man, is there a hell of a lot of great fights coming on it.
Got a
So
lot of former UFC fighters on there.
yeah, massive amounts. Yeah, massive amounts. So um Saturday we they pit Dubai against Miami, and it's Marlon Moraes against Ray Borg, Todd Duffy against Robelis Despagne.
Oh
We
wow.
got Kat Gonzano, Alexa Connors. We've got Alex Oliveira against Gleason Tebow. Then we've got the London fighting New York on the same day. Benson Henderson, Anthony Pettis, 4. Uh, we've got Holly Holm facing Julia Budd. Derek Brunson against Omar Akhmedov. We've got
Yep.
Danny Roberts, Neiman Gracie, and a female fight. I don't know those fighters on.
Yep.
Also, we've got Henan Barao, Uriah Faber,
Wow.
Chad Mendez, Mikey Lynn Harris, Sage Northcutt's fighting Lucas Martins, Aspen Ladd, and we've got Jessica Pena fighting there. That's on Saturday.
Wow. Wow. That's
Yeah,
crazy. That's
that's
crazy.
15 fights on Saturday, 16 coming up on Sunday. Paige Van Zant is fighting Ramsey Field. Then we've got Devin Clark against Thiago Santos. We've got Grant Neal against Philip Hawes. And that's the two teams from Dubai and Miami. And then London and New York. Alex Gustafson
That's
against
it.
Ova St. Preux. You see that one?
Wow. Yep. See
Yeah.
that.
Alan
Alan
Belcher.
Belcher?
Yeah. Jimmy
What?
Rivera's fighting on the card. We've got who else coming? And then also on the same day, we got New York against LA. Dylan Dennis against Tony Ferguson. Fabricio
Wow.
Verdum against an unknown fighter so far. Don't know why that is. Uriah Hall
Oh,
against
Douglas
Lima.
Lima. That'll be right. Wow,
And
man. And Lorenz Larkin.
Lorenz
That a Lorenz
Larkin.
Larkin sighting.
Yeah.
Wow, look
Against
at that.
Petroza. Yeah, man. So I'm telling you, man, this is awesome. I'm gonna watch. I don't believe there's a UFC event. I think I looked, and so far there's not. I don't think they
Okay.
will announce one then and there, and so we'll have the ability to watch. It's gonna be hard to watch 31 fights in the 2 days, but hey, man. What do you think? I'm pretty impressed with the amount of talent they've got there. It's obviously, a lot of fighters, older, but a lot of name recognition. And I think I'm going to be front and center the whole weekend.
Uh, it's almost like an elder gentleman's fight league, but at the same time, if you wanted fight like name recognition, well, they got that in spades.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous. I had no idea they had that many named fighters that we've seen over the years. Like I didn't know they had that many.
Yeah.
That's impressive, man. So I think I'm going to try to catch what I can. I don't know if I'll be able to watch all 31, but I'll try to see what I can.
Yeah. It's happening down in LA, May 24th and 25th. I'll give lots more details as the fights get closer. I'm hoping to get a chance to talk to Darren Owen, who is one of the founders of the league. I had a previous relationship with him in the fight game, and hoping to get him on, talk more about it. What I'm really interested in is where I'm going to be able to watch it. I think they need a broadcast partner, and I don't think that it would be smart for them to pay-per-view it. That's not the way to come out of the gate. Pay-per-view to me really harms boxing. I think it minimizes the impact the UFC has at times on a global sport league, and be able for the ability for most people to watch. And I think they could attract a pretty good broadcast partner and start off really well, and reach a lot of people to try to tune them in, because they out of 31 fights they got to be paying a lot of money. They're gonna have to really
Put that
generate
money
some
back.
funds quick, or
Yeah.
they might not make very many more events as the year progresses.
Yeah, because it would be a shame if they ended up like what was that fight league I'm thinking of? Affliction. Where
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, 1, 2, 3 out of the shoot, and that is it, folks. There we go. We are done.
Done.
So I hope that they can figure that out.
Yeah.
Because it looks like what they're trying to build. It looks pretty impressive, and I hope that we get to see more events of like this. Probably not on the same scale, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they put together.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's pretty cool and very interesting. Okay, let's just talk about a couple of quick things. March Madness.
Yep.
Um, First time since 2008, all four number one seeds made the final four. Only minimal upsets this time. We talked a lot about how flawed the ranking system was in college football this year, heading into the playoffs. Number 9 was beating number 2, and number 8
Yeah.
was beating number 3, and it was just stupid. They totally screwed it up and really, really made a mess out of it. The people that put the rankings together are pretty smart. Obviously, watched the entire season of the college basketball, whole regular season, and even through to those playoffs, and got it right. These are
Yeah.
the elite of the elite, and most of them were not really pushed. A lot of games kind of blowouts.
Yeah.
We only had one buzzer beater game in this whole tournament. I think
Yeah.
the least amount of upsets, but I didn't mind it. I do like the
Mhm.
upsets, but I didn't mind this. We get to see the best of the best of the best, and this Final Four should be absolutely amazing. And the absolute final should be the two best teams that deserve to be there. And I really really liked watching a lot of these guys. I'm sick of the NBA not playing defense, and the defensive level of these
Oh yeah.
teams was off the friggin' charts.
Yep.
Unreal.
Yep.
So hard to score against all these four teams.
Yeah, because they're going so hard. They go so hard on every possession for the rebounds, like, slapping the floor, trying to get a defensive stop. But the fact that like the whole team is connected with their defensive effort, they know where to switch, where to rotate.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
Yeah.
Now, the guy that impressed me the most out of these four final teams is the guy that's going to possibly go number one in the draft.
Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag. I'm telling you, man, like this is the first time I've actually got a chance to sit down and watch him play. He is just so far ahead skill wise beyond everybody else. Like
Yeah.
it is clear as day who the best player is every time Duke has played.
Yeah.
Clear as day to me. His playmaking ability, his shot making ability, the fact that he has an endless motor, he does not give up on plays, and his help side coming over to block shots. I'm impressed. Dude has
Yeah.
everything. He's ready for the pro leagues already.
I've heard that this is either the best or the second best ever freshman class that Duke has ever had. And I made an announcement last week that mock draft, 3 of the top 5 were from Duke going in this NBA draft coming up. It's amazing that their recruiting was that great or that easy, because everyone called Duke and said, "I want to play for you," and they got to pick the best of the best of the best out of those. But the maturity that Flag shows, the tenacity, his ability, his shot, his everything. He looks like such a well-rounded, one of the best freshmen I've seen. And he did not reduce his draft stock in the slightest bit over this tournament.
No, he has not disappointed. He has not disappointed. In fact, he's left a better impression on me than I've heard, like, because I actually saw him. I actually watched it, and I was just super impressed, man. So Duke they're playing Houston, right?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up here. I'm gonna give the details.
Yeah.
Let's see. We've got here's the games coming up. So it's going on Saturday.
Yeah.
4 games. So you're right. Duke and Houston, and they play at 5:49 Pacific. The game that's before it is Florida Auburn, and tip off is 3:09 Pacific. That's Saturday, April 5th. Florida Auburn, Houston Duke.
Okay. I'll say this too. I think since they're all number ones, all have a chance to win.
Yeah.
All have a chance to win outright.
Yeah.
For me personally, my favorite is still Duke. And out of the other, like to win it all, but out of the other Final Four teams, Auburn, Florida, I think Florida wins that fight, wins that game. I like Florida. I like the fact that they're incredible shot makers, and they got a bunch of guys at the end of the game that are just absolute dogs. They
Yeah.
will get you that bucket every time.
Gators are favored by 2.5 by Vegas, and Duke is favored by 4.5 in their matchup against Houston. So, yeah, you have picked the favorites according to Vegas, but yeah, I think I would have leaned that way as well. Auburn, they haven't been an elite basketball program for long, so it probably wasn't recruiting all these top level guys all the time, but they have been the consensus number one for most of the season and went into the tournament as the consensus number one out of all the top seeds. So, definitely don't count them out. The thing about Houston also is Kelvin Sampson, an amazing coach. Really, the guys love him, and I can't believe how hard they play for him. And man, the defensive tenacity just blew my mind in some of the games I watched of them. Better than almost every team that I watched. I thought Houston was defensively just unreal.
Yeah, they get after you, and they don't stop. They just keep coming at you.
They held Tennessee to 15 points in the first half yesterday. 15 points. I was like, holy crap. That was an NCAA record for futility. No number 2 team had ever been held to that few points in an Elite 8 game. So, Houston was unreal, and Auburn. I was disappointed a little bit that Auburn won because I started becoming a huge fan of Jace Richardson. I've always been a Warriors fan, and Jason Richardson was always one of my favorite players. And it's pretty cool to see him in the stands cheering on his son. And this kid has a lot of really, really amazing abilities, and it was nice to reminisce in the days of Jason Richardson, 2-time dunk champion, a guy that didn't get a ton of credit over the years because the Warriors weren't an amazing juggernaut like they are now, but one of those most athletic guys I've ever witnessed, and a guy that could put the ball in a hoop like his son.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I love the fact that his son played for his father's alma mater.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that story. I love the fact that this is what I'm going to do.
And they're coached by the same guy, Tom Izzo.
Yes, and that's the other thing, which is ridiculous. It's like, wow, you're still here, eh?
Yeah, like what, 25, 30 years later?
25, 30 years. Later.
Yeah, that's amazing. Izzo is a legend, Hall of Famer, and great to see some of the footage with Draymond out there winning the championship and all the accolades that Izzo has, and it's pretty neat. That must be really cool for Jason to be able to get his son to play at his alma mater for the same coach and continue that Richardson legacy there.
No, it must be pretty cool. And then also too, it's gotta be pretty cool for Tom Izzo to be like, man, I managed to hang on for so long that now I'm coaching his son. This is great.
Yeah, that's incredible. Okay, switching to the NBA. I talked about the defense. I'm really sick of the lack of defense in the NBA, and it's becoming just unreal. Why can't they bring that college defense to the NBA? We gotta fire every NBA coach and just bring in all the college coaches, and boom, immediately change the game so we can see the defensive intensity like that. It's nuts. Okay, so about a week ago, an NBA record was set when Indiana beat Washington 162 to 109. It was the highest NBA score from a non-overtime game in NBA history. Okay.
Okay.
Yesterday there was 3 teams that scored 145 or more. It was 148 to 109. Golden State beat San Antonio 148-109. Same score. Houston beat Phoenix 148-109. And Atlanta beat Milwaukee 145 124. And it's unbelievable. Most teams have only like 7 or 8 games left, and the defense is still this fucking crappy now. Isn't this supposed to be the playoff stretch where you're getting your defensive intensity up and you're trying to, stop these high scoring games from happening? And it's still happening. Are we going to see these kind of scores in the playoffs? Like, geez, this is nuts.
Okay, well, calm it down for a little bit, because for 3 of those games, you got bottom feeders. You just talked about the Washington Wizards.
Yeah,
they
they're
checked
a bottom
out.
feeder. Yeah,
No, they checked out in October. They were done.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
all right, okay. So and then San Antonio, they're missing Wembanyama. They would have been better if they had him. All right, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna give them a pass. And then the Phoenix Suns, they just fell off a cliff.
yeah,
They're done.
yeah.
They're literally done. Kevin Durant, all of a sudden, is just like, I'm unhappy again. It's like, well, you should never have left Golden State. That's your problem. So, yeah. So for those 3 games, I'm gonna say that's what that is.
Okay.
Now for the stretch run, the one team out of all the teams that are going to be in the playoffs, the one team that I'm super looking forward to, because they brought back the old bad boy Detroit Pistons look.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many fights I've already seen them in now. Like going down the stretch, it's like, we're just gonna fight. We don't care if we win now.
Yeah,
We're just
yeah.
gonna fight. Like that melee that
What'd
they
you
had
think yesterday of
against the
that melee?
Timberwolves.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I love the passion. I love the fact that Hollins, it's usually always Hollins and Isaiah Stewart. Those are the live wires. And if they go off, then it's like, well, the whole team's got to go in now. We're all going into this together.
Yeah.
I would just like, as soon as I saw Naz Reid start pointing at Hollins, I'm like, it's going off. Hollins is not going to take that. Nobody's going to put their finger in my face. And then Dante Vincenzo sticks his face in, and Hollins is like, all right, let's do this. And it was just on.
Yeah.
It was just on. And I love the fact that JB Bickerstaff has literally he's encouraging the boys. It's like, you guys want to play like bad boys? Want to be like Bill Laimbeer? Go for it.
Yeah.
Do it. Yeah.
Well, it's funny that it's happening in Detroit because, they
Yeah.
won a couple championships there with that type of basketball. Detroit can't they can't beat Cleveland and OKC and Boston playing them straight up. They can't. So they got to muck it up a bit.
Yeah.
And they are definitely doing that. And that was quite the melee. Unfortunately, it went into the crowd. And when it went to the crowd, I thought, we're seeing Malice in the Palace again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm glad that no punches were thrown between fans and players. And it could have got really ugly, and people could have got hurt. A lot of big bodies landing on them. But it'll be interesting to see if they will do that in the playoffs.
No, you know what? I guarantee it. I guarantee that they're going to do that in the playoffs. It just seems that going down this last little stretch that the Pistons are involved in another melee. Like, I wonder if Adam Silver's like, you gotta be kidding me. I gotta phone him again. I gotta phone these guys again. Hey, JB, what are you guys doing with that? What are you doing with your team? Right? Get these guys under control. And he's like, this is how we play now.
Yeah.
Like, if we can't beat you, we're just gonna fight you. That's how it is.
That's how it is. Yeah. There was a game yesterday that was disgusting. Toronto against Philly. Philly had 10 regulars out, and Toronto had 6. And Philly got just absolutely rocked. They should be reducing ticket prices there. I saw people leaving for the exits like early. And you shouldn't be able to ask me to pay these ridiculous prices for tickets when 10 regulars are out. Like, this is your G League team. What the hell is this?
Yeah, man, that's utterly ridiculous. And the fact that, like, I look at their record, 23-52, 13th in the East. They felt like they've imploded. They've imploded, and I don't know what the answer is, but I do know what their future is. That's Tyrese Maxey. At least that guy plays, and he's not injury prone. So I would say that going forward, they're going to have to build their team around that dude.
Yeah, 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 100%. You mentioned KD. He's out actually a week. He sprained his ankle severely. He's out. Phoenix is done. Call them. They're done. They they got to upload that, do something different. It's not working.
Yeah.
Alex Ovechkin scored again yesterday, 5 away from breaking the record.
Nice.
10 games to go, so it's gonna happen. Do you know any travel agents?
Do I know any travel agents? No, not off the back of my hand.
I have a couple friends. I'm gonna call them, make sure that Putin goes through them when he comes over to celebrate Ovechkin breaking the record. I think Putin wants to be front and center. They're best buds. He's gonna be here. I almost guarantee he's coming.
Are you kidding? Or
no, I'm not kidding. He's coming. You might as well get a bunch of money, him and all his cronies, all his entourage coming over. Imagine the kind of money a travel agent's going to make when he comes to make that appearance to celebrate with Alex.
This is a lot. First off, would we allow him in to our country? Would we actually allow?
It's going to be in the U.S. somewhere. Of course, Donald Trump.
Oh, if it's the U.S., yes. Yeah. But if he's playing up here and he somehow breaks it in Canada, hell no, that's not happening. But in the U.S., for sure, good old Donald Putin will just have.
They're gonna hang out. Putin's best friend right now is Donald. Second best buddy is Alex. Those three are gonna be drinking vodka, hanging out, wearing no shirts, riding horseback. It's gonna be one of those most amazing pictures, videos you ever seen. And hopefully somebody's got a grenade or a bomb or something. Take them out. Take them out.
And you know what? Maybe for those two, Trump and Putin, but not Ovechkin. Come on, man. He's
well, hopefully he's ridden a few strides ahead with the horse. And
he's ahead. He's ahead of them.
Yeah.
He looks back, goes, "Oh no! Thank God I wasn't riding."
And then they end up saying, "Oh, actually, that was no goal. We're taking it away from you." And he doesn't have the record, and he's gone.
He's gone. It's done. You'll never pass the great one. Never.
Canucks look like they're dead. Not going to make the playoffs after such a great run last year. Really, really sucks. Drama-filled year. Couldn't come together. Problems in the locker rooms. Tons of injury troubles. Tocchet goes from a genius to an idiot somehow. No, not my words, but oh my God, he's a great coach, and they can't sign him with contract extension. Rumors that he's going to replace Torts in Philly, and we're going to lose Demko, we're going to lose Besser, we're going to lose Pedersen. This team's going to get blown up and decimated. It went from Game 7 against the Oilers last year, incredible playoff run, to just completely obliterated and not making the playoffs. They have to win every game, or possibly if they lose one, they have a shot. 2 losses, I think they're 100% history. So you might as well call them toast already.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah, that's definitely not going to happen. I'm just, you know what? I think I've already said it to you before, like off air, that I'm just surprised that the Canucks don't know what they have and are not signing Tocchet to a long-term deal. Yeah. I think he's been one of our better coaches that we've had in a very, 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 very long time.
Yeah. And
the fact that they're just unwilling to come to terms is just, I don't know, shocking.
He won Coach of the Year last year. Quinn Hughes said he's the best coach he's ever coached under, played under. I mean, he's the best coach he's ever had. And Tocchet is so well respected. We love him in the media. I can't even throw enough great things to say about Tocchet. I don't understand the management, what the hell they're doing. They haven't signed him. It's ridiculous. And maybe they deserve this because they're making stupid moves like this. This is dumb. I would not be surprised he's gone and feels disrespected. He's come in here, done a great job. I think better than any coach in a long, long time. And yeah, they can't just pony up and pay him the money and sign him to a long-term deal. It's nuts.
No, it is nuts. Like it doesn't make any sense. And the fact that they're not actually taking into account that their number one, their best player, the player that they can absolutely not let go, has given Talkett his flowers and said he's definitely by far and away the best coach I've ever played for.
Yeah.
But who cares? Let's get rid of him. All right.
Okay, we talked about money there briefly. Let's talk about good money and bad money. Okay. What do you want? What story you want first? Good money or bad money?
Bad money.
Okay. The tariffs have come into place, and bad news. Possibly we will no longer in Canada be producing all the NHL jerseys for the past. What is it? Since 1975. All the NHL jerseys, the ones that people wear or the ones that players wear, the authentic jerseys have all been made in St. Hyacinthe, Quebec, from a company called SP Apparel, 250 employees. And the tariffs have become too much. They don't think they're going to survive. It looks like they're going down south and making the jerseys down there. And that's a tragedy. Unbelievable that this such a iconic Canadian company will not be able to survive this tariffs so far that they say.
That sucks. That's a big blow. It's almost as if he did that on purpose because they lost to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
almost.
Right. Yeah. Brutal, huh? Yeah,
brutal.
Crazy good money story. Rogers Sportsnet has signed and a contract extension with the NHL for $7.7 billion. It's a 12-year deal. Lots of money coming towards the NHL. In 2021, ESPN and Turner Sports signed the American deal. That was $4.5 billion for 7 years. They will be re-upping, they said, fairly soon. And Amazon was trying to become the main provider. They do provide games on Monday evenings right now. They were in negotiations to try to take that from Rogers. Rogers stepped up with nearly $8 billion to keep the rights for the next dozen years.
That's impressive. That's impressive that they stepped up and they outbid Amazon because, well, they outbid Amazon. That's impressive.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive. PGA story. Guess who won the tournament this week in the PGA?
Scheffler.
Whoa, good guess. He came second. He almost won. He came so close. We had another first-time winner, an Australian young guy, 26 years old, named Min Woo Lee. Lee had a 5-shot lead over Scheffler heading into Sunday, and he started leaking oil. He hit a shot into the water on 16, and everybody said, uh-oh, this is it. He imploded about a year or two ago. I think it was about a year ago. He was facing Rory down the stretch, and he just crapped the bed, lost out big time, finished 6th in the tournament, and it looked like it was going to happen. Somehow he got the wheels back on the track, ended up getting a par putt on the 18th hole, beating Scheffler by 1. Scheffler had the best day on Sunday, but too far back to catch him. And another first-time winner on the PGA Tour. That's 4 already this year. That's pretty wild. Top Canadian with Taylor Pendrith, tied for 5th, 5 shots back. Mackenzie Hughes was tied for 10th, and really, really great tournament for those guys. It stays in Texas. This week it's in San Antonio. It was in Houston this past week. San Antonio this week. Course designed by Greg Norman and helped build it by Sergio Garcia, which is the 2 of the main live guys. So kind of wild that they're playing at that tournament. Akshay Bhatia, the defending champion, beat Danny McCarthy in a playoff last year. Rory McIlroy was in 3rd place. Corey Connor was the top Canadian last year. Rory McIlroy, unfortunately, did something to his elbow in this tournament. Has to undergo some scans and some rehab. The Masters is in 10 days, so that's
So he's
bad
out.
news because Rory is trying to win the Masters for the first time. It would complete the career Grand Slam for him, winning every major. And it was really lining up to see Scheffler and Rory. They've both
Sure.
been really good. Rory's won 2 tournaments already this year, and he's never won 2 tournaments before the Masters in a year. So it looked like both guys were going to be battling. Let's hope it's nothing serious and we can still see it happen in 10 days' time.
Yeah, hopefully it is nothing serious, because if they're both kind of almost rounding into top form already, it would have been awesome to see them showdown in the Masters, and hopefully it still happens.
Quickly, Min Woo Lee, first guy to ever win a tournament, getting more birdies than he hit fairways in the entire tournament. He was third in driving distance, but last in the tournament, 150th in accuracy. So he was crushing it, but it was off into the
Oh.
woods. It was hitting into the middle of the lake. It was going to every hazard that you thought, and he was somehow getting out of it and ended up winning the tournament. It was a wild watch. I was shocked that he pulled off the win. He couldn't get the fairway. 22 fairways, 26 birdies he got, and was able to win. Those bombers, it's great to hit it that far, but it's hard when it's way off here, way off there. You got to try to find it. It's nuts that he ended up winning his first tournament so inaccurate.
No, it's actually, it makes for great television, because you're
Yeah.
just like, I have no idea how he won this tournament. Like his inaccuracy was just on another level, but he still won.
He still
So that's,
won, yeah,
yeah.
incredible.
So
Did you see Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball to DK Metcalf this weekend?
no. Well, he hasn't made a decision to go play for the Steelers though yet, has he?
He
He hasn't.
hasn't. They're
Huh?
into contract negotiations, from what I hear.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. All
yeah,
right.
he's hung out with Tomlin. They've
Mhm.
met. They've discussed the possibility of him coming. They gave him the option of working out with DK, and they were in sync. I watched 10, 15 minutes of them working out and him hitting him in lots of different patterns, and I think it's imminent. I think it's going to happen. Mason Rudolph, not the guy you want to go into the season as your number one guy. So I think it's done deal. I think in the coming days we're going to hear that it's contract signed and he's going there.
Well, you know what? I knew they had to do something, since they let Russell walk. They let Justin Fields walk. So I'm like, you have no more quarterbacks. I'm sorry. I know Mason Rudolph is there. It doesn't count. So I'm like, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
That's what I was waiting for. I'm like, what is actually happening here?
yeah, yeah.
And the fact that Aaron Rodgers is there, but sorry, buddy, you're on Aaron Rodgers time now. I don't know when I'll get back to you. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of sucks for the Steelers, but I guess they're on Aaron's time now. So hopefully they get that deal done. Hopefully they get a quarterback that, they can hopefully win with. Hopefully Aaron shows something of the old Aaron.
Yeah.
Maybe he still got it. And maybe this is a smart move by the Steelers.
What do you think about the Niners? All the shit that's going on with them. Still haven't come to agreement with Purdy. Looks like they're gonna keep Brandon Ayuk. They've been trying to trade him.
Yeah.
Couldn't come to a deal with anybody. And if he's on the roster tomorrow, he gets a $23 million check roster bonus. And it looks like I haven't heard. It looks like he's there. So $23 million heading his way. Purdy, $5 million for this year, being paid 10 times higher amount to bring him back on a contract extension. Do you think this gets done soon?
It would be better if it did get done soon. I think I know what the 49ers are trying to do. They're trying to get him under the $50 million deal. I think that's what I believe that's what they're trying to do. And then probably his representation is like, no, that's the market rate now for a guy like him. That it's $50 million. And they're just like, well, what about, like 42? Not good enough anymore. So hopefully they get it done, because it would be, I don't think it would do them any good at this point in time to have that as a distraction. And
No.
also too considering the amount of players that have left and everything else, and that the team is kind of in limbo right now.
Yeah.
You know, like on where they're going to be, where they're projected to be, and stuff. So I think it would be in their best interest to just get the deal done.
The NFL management, coaches, everybody, the NFL owners meetings happening. It really looks like the tush push rule is going to be outlawed. Can you believe it? Can you friggin' believe it? That's brutal. How stupid is that?
Well, you know what? So I remember I heard from Mark Schlereth. He gave a pretty good explanation of why it could be outlawed. And I kind of agreed with him on it
Okay.
because he's like this on the defensive side of the ball, we can't do that. We can't push a defender from behind to help try to tackle the football.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, is it fair for the offense to be able to do that to us?
Mm.
I kind of thought about that for a bit, and I'm like, he makes a good point.
Yeah.
Makes a good point. So, but it's also funny too because nobody's actually found a great way to stop it.
Yeah.
Since it's the Eagles' unstoppable play, you could see the other owners
Jealousy.
conspiring to say, "Yeah, we're just going to take that away from you. We don't
Yeah.
want it anymore." And I think that's more to the point of actually what's happened.
Yeah, just jealousy and
It's not in the interest of fairness. It was just the fact that we can't stop it, so we're just going to legislate it out of the game.
there looks like there are a lot of rule changes that they're proposing, and I'm pretty stunned by how many they've got on the table. It's insane. They're looking at tons of stuff. They're thinking of changing the regular season OT to align with the postseason overtime rules. They're thinking of moving the kickoff touchback back. They're trying to eliminate automatic first downs on defensive holding, illegal contact. They want to replay assist. They want to be able to pick up a flag if clear and obvious evidence exists for anything. Wild card seeding is an interesting one for me.
I heard that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one's probably pretty good because last
Yeah,
year was pretty ridiculous.
it was.
The
Yeah.
seeding ended up working, and I said how bad
Yeah.
it was in college. It was
Yeah.
pretty bad in the NFL this year, where a 14-win team was going to a 10-win team in
Yeah.
the playoffs. They're home, and yeah, it didn't really reflect how well they played over a season. And
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, no, the wild card stuff made a lot of sense to me. I think it's time for that change to happen. I think that change should have happened like a long time ago, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So that made sense to me. Do that.
I watched a few of the UFL games, really good. I didn't realize that Puka Nakua's two brothers play on the same team. One of them had a touchdown, and one of them had an interception. And I think they're his two older brothers. Yeah, they're his two older brothers. Both of them had some NFL time over their career, but yeah, I didn't realize they actually play on the same team.
That's actually pretty awesome. That's actually even more awesome that the fact that it's a football family
Yeah.
of former NFL players, and then Puka Nakua being obviously the best of the bunch.
I watched the Memphis Showboats game. They won 26-12 over the Michigan Panthers. No, Michigan Panthers beat the Memphis Showboats 26-12. Bryce Perkins was their quarterback. He was a former LA Ram behind Matthew Stafford. He was there when they won the Super Bowl 56 and never really got any opportunities to play because Stafford always played. He ended up going to the UFL. It's a crazy super football family. His dad played in the NFL. His uncle played in the NFL. His older brother all played in the NFL. And it's unreal, that they all ended up playing in the NFL for a few years. He goes there. He had a fantastic game. Threw for a touchdown, ran for a touchdown, and his touchdown pass was to Samson Nakua, Puka's older brother. His other brother his name is Kai, and he got the big pick, 6 tackles, in the victory. So yeah, pretty cool that the Nakua family, the two older brothers, can play on the same team in spring football and both be successful, one on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, the bloodlines are strong in that family, that's for sure.
Lionel Messi scored in his return from injury. Miami's leading in the Eastern Conference. Beautiful goal. 2 minutes into the game, he scored on pass from Suarez. Showed how phenomenal he is. Great to see him back. Whitecaps are leading the West. Miami's leading the East. Wouldn't that be great? We got to see him come this year. He snubbed us last year. So great if he comes this year. It would be such a big thing if the two top teams in the whole league can face off against each other and he can come. And Whitecaps got a 0-0 draw against Toronto FC on the weekend, but as I said, stayed in first place in the conference. They play this Wednesday home against the Mexican team Pumas, and then they play in Colorado Saturday for their MLS game. And last thing, Novak Djokovic was going for his 100th ever ATP title on the weekend in Miami, where he's had a lot of success. He played this 19-year-old kid that had never won a tournament, and guess what? The kid won. The kid beat him, got his first ever ATP title. He said, the only reason why I'm playing tennis is because Novak Djokovic was my hero, and I took up the game because of him, and I can't believe that my hero became my rival, and I beat him. It was the greatest moment of his life, and Novak it was a crazy day because they had a 5.5 hour rain delay, huge humidity. Novak had a little bit of health troubles, but a 37-year-old greatest of all time against this 19-year-old kid, and the kid beat him on this occasion, but pretty wild result in the world of tennis there.
No, that is a crazy result, but I hope he talked a little trash to him and said, "Old man, your time is up. I've got your number. Look at you, all weak and stuff. Looking all sick. I'm gonna destroy you." I hope that's what he did. I hope that's what he did.
All right. Well, send him a letter asking him to do it again if he doesn't.
Definitely.
Okay, man. It's been a long podcast, but we had tons of stuff to cover. Loved it. Awesome. Great to catch up with you as always on a Monday. Have a really great week ahead, and yeah, let's hope the weather holds off for you. It's it's the start of spring, so it should be really sunny from this point on.
I hope so. I really hope so. And you have yourself a great evening, and we'll talk during the week.
Sounds good. Cheers, man. Take care. Thanks a lot. Okay, everybody. Wow. So much to cover. Yeah, I filled up half my notebook here, and hope you enjoyed watching the UFC like I did. Hope you enjoyed watching a lot of the different sports that was on. Wow, was it ever a busy weekend? So much going on. This Global Fight League, wow, I'm pretty damn impressed with the lineup of fighters they have in those first two events. We're gonna have to get Darren Owen on. We're gonna have to talk some mixed martial arts for the Global Fight League, and can't wait. And yeah, it was fun. We shared a lot of takes today. Hope you enjoyed it a ton. Please let us know if you do so. Subscribe, like, and send us a comment, and we will see you very soon. See you next week, and hopefully we'll get some announcements of this Global Fight League and some more great interviews. So love you guys lots. Take care of yourself. Bye for now. Our parts and the sponsors, everyone knows who they are, and we're just going to end it right now. Take care. Bye for now.